see it in the Joe. Give me the money, give me the loot, give me the racks. Give me the hundreds, give me the skrilla, give me the stacks. Give me the bread, give me the cheese, give me the cash. Give me the bag, give me the cheese, give me the bag. Yeah, I want it, give me the bag. Yeah, I need it, give me the bag. I be on it, give me the bag. Yeah, I see it, give me the bag. Ain't no stopping, give me the bag. I'ma make it, give me the bag. If you got it, give me the bag. I'ma take it, give me the bag. Yeah, I want it, give me the bag. Yeah, I need it, give me the bag. I be on it, give me the bag. Yeah, I see it, give me the bag. Ain't no stopping, give me the bag. I'ma make it, give me the bag. If you got it, give me the bag. I'ma take it, give me the bag.
And we taking our time. Yeah, it's all about the vibes. Okay.
We're taking it slow. We're just taking our time. We're just living our lives. We got nowhere to go. So let's stay here the whole night. 'Cause all we feel is good vibes. Yeah, all we feel is good vibes.
Vibe with it, it's a good time. We don't worry about the hate. We just pass it to the side, grab a drink, hold it up, say what's good, feeling right. All your friends, they invited, bring a bottle through the night. Tell them we gon' get it lit, we gon' get it lit. Get a little throw, get a little bent, have a good time. Ay, and you don't need a vent. On tilt, we gon' really get it in, right? Right. Ain't no time to be lazy, oh no. I got a dozen girls coming, they crazy for show. And not a single girl rating them 8 or below. I swear to God, they gon' love it the way that I flow. Hey, yeah, and we gon' take it slow. Spending time while you turn up at a vacant show. You can take your time, shawty, you don't need to go. We at a house party chillin' if you need to know.
We're taking it slow. We're just taking our time. We're just living our lives. We got nowhere to go. So let's stay here the whole night. 'Cause all we feel is good vibes. Yeah, all we feel is good vibes.
I've been vibing with you from the jump. See the crib, I ain't even got a stunt. Making hits, I don't ever try to blunt. When I pull up, everybody wanna front now. They acting brand new every time I touch down. And to my haters, all I gotta say is what now? They say hello to the new whip, flirt with your new chick. All our TMZs, so the rights all exclusive. I'm playing with you, I know you playing too. We laying back in the cut, got the eagle view. I do this all the time, I really ain't nothing new. I ain't frontin' on you, shorty, what I say is true. And now we chillin', we ain't worried about the biz though. Ay, stress-free, living like kids though. And if the vibe stay right like it is, when it's all said and done, we gon' end up more than friends.
We're taking it slow. We're just taking our time. We're just living our lives. We got nowhere to go. So let's stay here the whole night. 'Cause all we feel is good vibes. Yeah, all we feel is good vibes.
I got my own, I drive my own car, I got my own whip. You already know it. Hey, y'all make noise and y'all just focus. I gotta focus. I do not hang around women that golden. You keep it noted. I get the money and y'all getting no biz. I don't do poses. I keep it pushing, yeah, I keep it coasting. Whole team rolling. Shorty act up so you know that I'm ghosting. My season approaching. I got the juice, yeah, I got the potion. Let's get to toasting. Drinking my cup, yeah, let's get the poke. Hey, what's up? Pour another in my cup. Hop in the whip, pull up, yeah. All of my girls show love, they live in the hills, do drugs. Want more, now they can't get enough. Got my own thing, got my own thing. I don't do what everybody does, no. Hey, what's up, yeah. What's up, yeah. Hey, what's up, yeah. Stop playing. I gotta know what you saying. You telling me you a fan. Why you DM me from Japan? You gotta love me. I do this music, put nothing above it. I had a shorty, but I had to cut it, 'cause I had no time to give her what she wanted. I gotta get to the bag like ASAP. I want a brand new Maybach. Whole lot of people done doubted me. Me stunting on them is a payback. I hate to say that, but I'm buying whips and I pay cash. You should see where I stay at, 'cause they think I'm selling that A-flat. Hey, what's up? Pour another in my cup. Hop in a whip, pull
The 42 best clubs in the world, ready to write history and become legends of the badge. Ultimate glory is at stake, a chance to create a legacy at their fingertips, with dreams of achieving greatness, making their way to the biggest stage. But only 6 will be crowned this year's FIFA E-Club World Cup Zone winners.
For the game, I came here for the sport. Yeah, run it, we gon' stay 100. Run it, give it all or nothing.
Hello and welcome to the FIFA E-Club World Cup 2021. My name is Leila Ali. I'm joined by Spencer Owen, and after an intense afternoon with Zone 4 being penalty of flush, we are now moving on to Zone 5, South America, and I'm excited for this one. There's a personal bias happening here.
I mean, I think you're right to be, Leila. There's so much to look forward to here. We've got some top players. South America never disappoints, does it? With the flamboyant FIFA, I'm sure we're going to see. But yeah, if it's anything like Zone 4, it's going to be amazing.
Yes. Are there any particular matchups here you're excited about?
I mean, there's some top players for sure. I mean, the one that jumps off for me is PH Zin, who's on the Xbox, obviously representing ELS Torneos. But what's interesting about him is there's been 3 regional qualifiers, right, in South America. He's won 2 of 3. Now, if you're not familiar with FIFA, that might not sound like a big deal. That's incredibly hard. We're not seeing many people even qualify for more than 1. This guy's won 2 of 3. He's definitely the player to watch. His partner, MH7, if he can just keep up with him in terms of results, then you're looking at Torneos as a team that can go deep into it. But he's pretty much the best Xbox player, definitely in South America for me. Likewise, though, you look across on the PlayStation, we've got a name who's synonymous with top quality FIFA over the last few years. Nicholas, representing FC Basel, has been with them for quite some time as well. Played in plenty of these events before. Nicholas is always a strong contender. He partners with, I think, on paper, much like I said about Makers previously in Zone 4, the best on-paper partnership, FC Basel, Spider-Kong. Unbelievable. Nicholas, one of the few people who's not Brazilian, by the way. There's a lot of Brazilians out today. Argentinian there, but teaming up with the Brazilian Spider-Kong, I think that team looks very tasty.
Now, we've got a large region here, therefore we've got 8 teams in the quarterfinals. We're hitting the knockout stages now. So again, another very intense, tough region to get anywhere in.
Yeah, but you've got to remember how well these guys have done just to get this far. There's been so many teams in these regions trying to qualify, and qualification was extremely strenuous. Then they've got into the league phase. Obviously, they've played those league games. Now they've made it out of these groups. So they've done incredibly well. But some of the groups, by the way, were so tight, people missing out on tiny margins. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Well, it's been a great story on how they got here. And we've got Zone 5 reporter Juan Osorio on the line to tell us a little bit about that journey to this knockout stage. Juan, are you there?
Yeah, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear and see you, so I'm very, very pleased. Give us a little bit of an update on the qualifications so far.
Well, on the qualifications, we were going to have the 8 teams that qualified after the group stage, which was a little bit of drama there, especially with Basel that started losing the qualification, and finally they made it first in the group. But let's start with the first match of the bracket, which is the ELS Torneos, one of the best teams in the entire qualification. It's one of the teams that scores most goals. They scored 13 goals in the group stage, and against the TTB Esports that only scored 8. So we will see a couple of teams that are really good offensively, but defensively they're not really solid, as ELS conceded 8 goals and the TTB Esports conceded 9. So here we have, as you were guys mentioning before, two very important players, and in ELS Torneos. Mateus Enrique, he has been already champion in Bundesliga here in South America, and also Paulo Enrique, he's R10 that has been twice champion in South America. And then if we move to the second match of the bracket, we will see the only game that's going to be repeated. They have already played 3 times. I'm speaking about EMGCF Esports and the SPQR Brasil. It's going to be the 3rd time these two teams are going to face each other. I mean, the 4th. They have already played 3 times. And the victory has been for SPQR 2 times. So it's going to be a little bit of history there. These 2 teams both won their matches in the group stage, so they have 100% of performance. And the MGCF Sports scored 13 goals as they did in the group stage, and SPQR only scored 7. They conceded 6 and 4 respectively. So here we're gonna watch again two very good offensive teams, and defensively they're not being too solid as I mentioned, but for sure we were gonna have a lot of goals in this match. If we go third on the matches, so we can see the Basel. It's gonna face. Let me just check it here. It's gonna face Netshoes Esports, and Basel had a lot of drama there in that group. Everybody finished with 6 points, so they come with that rhythm, with that energy in this stage. And here you don't have that second chance that you can have in the group stage or in the qualifications, because it's all or nothing. It depends a lot on little details, how you're feeling that day, what's on your mind that day, how are you. If you split well, those little details that are going to make a big difference in this stage. And finally, we check the last game. The last match is Medellin Esports against Team FW Brazil. Both only won 1 game in the group stage, and there's a big difference in terms of numbers and goals, because Medellin scored 6 and conceded 6 as well, so their goal difference was 0 completely. But Team FW Brazil scored 11 goals and they conceded 9. So you see that Medellin is a little bit more defensive kind of team. They are very solid defensively. And FW Brazil is a very offensive team that sometimes leaves some spaces there in their defensive phase. And they're not easy to score against, but they concede way more goals than Medellin typically concedes.
Juan, an unbelievably thorough breakdown there from you. Thank you very, very much. Any surprises for you, Spencer, on what he said there?
Well, I mean, he glossed over it. It's a great report from Juan there, but we'll look at the league tables in a minute, because the group that he referred to, the second group that Nicholas's Basel got out of, it was incredibly tight. It was, I mean, one of those situations where, obviously, these groups only had 3 teams in them. Yeah. So it wasn't quite as many games to play as there was in the groups in Zone 4. But in Group B, you have to look at that situation. Every single team had 6 points. They all beat each other, basically. It did go down to goal difference in the end. So you've got to say, Inter are going to feel really hard done by, because they were one of the hot-tipped teams coming into this. Another Italian team, this time obviously playing in South America. They had the same points as everyone else. But it went down to goal difference. They just didn't do enough to get out. Shows you that we did call it the group of death when we pulled that group out of the draw, and it did kind of deliver on that front.
Well, let's walk through the quarterfinals. If we can start by quarterfinal number 1. This one looks like it could be a bit of a test.
Well, I mean, Juan's there. He said about how a lot of these teams maybe attack better than they defend. I mean, that's kind of like the Brazilian way, right? Score more than the opposition. That's what I expect to see here. He's talked about this partnership at Torneos. It's an unbelievable team. They're scoring so many goals. PH is in, as I mentioned earlier, he's already won 2 regionals. That doesn't happen by accident. He's playing at the top of his game. No one want to play against him. There's just no way. And obviously his partner's not doing too bad either. Yeah. So they've got to be ones to watch for me. I think Juan probably feels the same there. Definitely ELS Torneo is a team that could go far. But not to give TTB, I mean, because of the group stage, the way it was, 3 teams, you just play 2 games in that group stage. You could argue that you can't read too much into the form. And these guys that have all done so well to qualify, anyone can beat anyone. So I wouldn't write TTB off, but Torneos are the team to watch for me, I think.
Let's have a look at quarterfinal number 2.
Yes, so in this one we've got MGCF going up against SPQR, so battle of the acronyms. It's going to be a good one.
Letting that flow.
I just about got it out. Felipe, for me, is the one to watch here on Xbox. Really good player. I mean, like I say, everyone's great, but he's standing out a little bit at the moment on Xbox. He's going up against C4. It's going to be explosive, that one. PS4, I don't know if you picked up on that one. Explosive, Gagna. Crepaldi against Altgavia. I mean, you should be pronouncing these. You're the Brazilian here. That's the PlayStation matchup. That's going to be a great game as well. So it's a tight one, but I think SPQR, for me, maybe edge it. They've got Felipe. They're looking good.
And quarterfinal 3.
This is the one that's got, for me, the partnership we need to talk about the most. We've got the Basel partnership, Nicholas and Spider Kong. But, I mean, we talk about Nicholas a lot, but Spider Kong, over the last few years, has had some really big results as well. Top Brazilian pro. It's going to be very hard for Netshoes to take them down. You've got Tyke and you've got Klinger. Sounds like sort of comic book characters or something, don't they? Tyke and Klinger. But they have to go against Spider Kong. Also sounds like a comic book character. Basel, for me, I think, they are the team to beat. It's just such a strong partnership.
Tell me a little bit about Nicholas as well, because we know his psychology is quite powerful. We saw him at the FIFA World Cup do very, very well, but not quite clinch it.
Yeah.
How do you think he'll do today?
I think he'll be fantastic as ever. I mean, he's got ice in his veins. They say that about him, the Iceman. You know, he's never too emotional. He's always very relaxed and composed under pressure. He's done something which not a lot of pros have done, to be honest, which is keep being successful over consecutive FIFAs for multiple years. Very difficult. The game changes. It's not like another sport where, you know, you reach a level and you can sustain it. You've got to re-find your form every single year. Dominant, not just in Argentina or even South America, in the world. Top player, and I mean, and he likes partnerships as well. He formed a formidable partnership with Tex previously in this tournament in another year, so I expect to see him go a long way with Spider-Kong next to him.
And then finally, quarter-final number 4.
Yes, now this one we've got Medellin, I'm going to pronounce, is that right? It's a place in Colombia, Medellin?
Say it again?
Medellin, is that how you say it?
Medellin, I don't know.
It's in Colombia. It's the second biggest place in Colombia, I've been reliably informed.
Okay, Brazilian.
But they're going up against FUTWIZ Brazil. FUTWIZ Brazil, very interesting. You know, FUTWIZ is a FIFA brand, of course, but they've got players all across the world now. They're one of the teams, I think, that does things very well, the way they run things, but they're actually building that brand, so I like it. So here they are in Brazil. They've got artists formerly known as NSC Vinny, now FUTWIZ Vinny, and Lugo Zaledo is their team, going up against Gustavo and Paiva 29. So this one could go either way for me. I mean, our friend Juan there was talking about how FUTWIZ Brazil have that classic, you know, good in attack, conceding a few goals. Maybe they're going to struggle a little bit against Medellin, who've got a bit more of an all-round game. But we have to see.
And so that's our last quarter-final. Looks like this.
Yeah.
This is our quarter-final 4.
Well, this is actually one we spoke about earlier. This is MGCF versus SPQR. So, yeah, we talked about this. It's got Felipe.
Yeah.
I think SPQR, in the battle of the acronyms, could come out on top.
We did a little flip.
Yeah.
Well, our feature match is coming up. That is going to be quarter-final 2. We're going to feature Basel there. Yeah, exactly. This is the one that we wanted to feature, really.
I mean, you can feature any of them because they're all great
brilliant
players, and we will jump across as ever and follow the action. But, yeah, Nicholas is a player to watch for me. I mean, he's earned that right. He's earned the right to be on the big screen over multiple years. You know, on the PlayStation, dominant. There's one other player that looks as dominant as him in this tournament, but he's on the Xbox, and that's PH Zin. So we're not going to see those two match up, but we could see potentially a final there. Tornados versus Basel. That's an early shout from me. Could it happen? Maybe.
Well, let's begin, because we're going to jump in now to our quarter-final Zone 5 knockout stages. And Brandon Smith and Richard Buckley are here to guide you through.
Yes, thank you very much, Layla. And here we go then. We are back for the South American side of the FIFA E Club World Cup. Different this year, 6 different zones. We've just seen Europe, aka Zone 4, conclude. We know the grand final happening on Sunday. Now we've got to do the exact same, Richard, with the top 4 teams from the 4 groups that was in South America in this Zone 5. $61,500, I should say, up for grabs in this prize pot. Some of the best teams from South America. We know how good they have been. Nicholas in action, FUTWIZ in action. This should plan to be just as good, if not better, than what we saw in Zone 4, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, this will be very, very competitive at the top level. When you look at South America as a region, in the last, you would say, 12 months, sort of in this lockdown period, shall we say, they've been incredible. A number of the events that we've had the opportunity to commentate on, extremely competitive. You've seen a couple of sort of front runners run away, PH Zine and Matthias Bonanno on the Xbox and the PlayStation. Matthias isn't here. The player behind Matthias Bonanno, well, he is competing and he is in our featured match. And does he need any further introduction than Nicholas 99 FC? This man has been in FIFA since FIFA 17. We went to Los Angeles. We saw Nicholas qualify for his first ever FIFA E World Cup. Since then, he's never looked back.
Yeah, and something else that he's done since then, Richard. He's won a FIFA E Club World Cup. Back in 2019 in London, he picked up that all-important trophy. That team back then was alongside Tex. A couple of years on, he's back again this time for the Swiss side in FC Basel. What a roster. They have Nicholas and Spider-Kong. On the flip side is NSC Tyke and Klinger. All the games taking place at the exact same time here in the quarter-final stages in South America. 42 teams made it to this E-Club World Cup final stages across the 6 zones, 12 of them from South America, Richard. And they were split across 4 different groups, weren't they? 3 players in each of those groups, and it was the top 2 teams that got through. I'd say most of the teams made it look a bit easier than what FC Basel did.
Unbelievable when you look at their respective group with the team that Resende was playing for in Inter Esports and also TTB as well. Serious competition, all teams finishing on 6 points. Not often you get that, in all honesty. 3 teams all finish on the same points, separated by goal difference. Any of those 3 could have been successful in their approach and sort of opportunity to try and claim a FIFAe Club World Cup.
As you said, it will be Nicholas kicking from left to right in this game with the first chance and maybe the first goal of the ties so far. On the flip side for Netshoes Esports, it will be Tyke. You mentioned it, Nicholas currently second. Those global series rankings knocking on the door behind the fellow Argentine Mateus Bonanno of Crew Esports. Sergio Aguero's esports team, they went for this tournament, unfortunately did not break it into the sort of final 12. You can see that the run that he has had in this tournament. Top of the group, they did finish Group 2 in South America, aka Zone 5. Didn't need to score all the goals in the world, did he?
Not emphatic in the stats department, though. 4 goals scored, 3 conceded, plus 1 goal difference. I mean, it wasn't incredible, but they only did play 2 matches as well, each competitor, when you consider how many games they've played.
Chance. Nicholas goes out for a corner in the end. That one whipped in towards the feet of Cristiano Ronaldo. Times it green. It's still up in the air, off the post, off the bar. We're hitting every type of the upwork right now.
Not often you'll see a header time green, but Nicholas, time to perfection with Cristiano Ronaldo. Glancing off the crossbar, you see the stats of Tyke on your screen there as well, with a minus goal difference, but doesn't matter because they got through the group, and that's the only sort of aim you have in group play. Get out of the group.
Well, to be honest, yes, they came second in the group, but they were 6 points clear in the nicest way. Ducks Gaming did not have the tournament to remember. That was Zizinho and Diogo. I mean, you look at that and you say that's a very solid roster. However, just could not get things moving and ticking in the group stages. Goals are going in as we speak right now. ELS Torinos up by 2-0 against TTB Esports, the other team that are in this group of FC Basel. One thing that you need to know about that team of ELS, they've got PH Zin on their books. If you have not been watching FIFA Esports in South America, I'd recommend refreshing your mind, because that guy has been winning pretty much everything on the Xbox.
Back-to-back Global Series qualifiers in South America. He was successful, and he's just had an incredible run as PH Zin. Similar to this man on your screen, in Nicholas 99 FC right there.
Whipped in towards the box, and it's going to come back across. It must be said that for this E-Club World Cup tournament, players are maybe playing on their opposite console. If there isn't Global Series points on the line this year, just the prize money and the pride of being a club champion in the FIFA E-Club World Cup. For sort of 5th time this tournament's run. It's been all over the world. It's been able to adapt to the current pandemic in the best way possible. Still running this tournament across 6 different zones. They said 61.5. $1,000 up for grabs. The winners, which will be playing in place tomorrow, will be walking away with a very, very healthy $23,000.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Patrick Vieira just playing the ball into Mbappe right there. It's been pretty much one-way traffic for Nicholas in this first half, but Netshoes Tyke getting a little bit of play on the ball right now.
Still 0-0 though. The one thing we know about Nicholas, only scored 4 goals across his group stage process. You might be wondering about why are these teams so good, why are there so many good items involved, and that's because they're playing on a special, with special esports accounts were available. Chance, Nicholas, back post, what a block from that team of the year, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not just the normal team of the year item, Rich. I mean, there's team of the years everywhere in these teams, isn't there?
Incredible. Right back is team of the year Trent Alexander-Arnold. What he lacked in pace in his sort of regular foot item, the 87, certainly makes up for in his team of the year. does the Liverpudlian. Chance here for Alphonso Davies. He was the other Team of the Year fullback, played into Cristiano Ronaldo.
Here comes Bruno Fernandes. Trying to just tease a tackle coming in. Looking at the rankings for Tyke. Might not have seen him in too many tournaments. It's 20th.
Still impressive.
Which we know South America is full of players. Flip back to before COVID happened, Richard, and we were in FUT Champions Cups in Bucharest. What was the common theme? It was South American FIFA players that were popping up and making a name for themselves. Speaking of other players that are making a name for themselves, in this game, there has been a brilliant start. Again, starting on the PlayStation for that eLigaSul team. They didn't just score one, Richard. They ensured they scored a multiple set of goals. This was only 10 minutes in, and you can see them just running away with the game. Currently 2 goals up in that one. Of course, that is the player there of MH7. Sorry, jumping across to this game, MGCF Esports currently beating SPQR, and then Team FUTWiz are also in the lead. R9 twisting and turning as he always does, time and time again, ensuring that they do also lead by a goal to 0. And here we go, back on the way in our featured game. Do not worry, we'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening in our 3 other quarter-final matches here in the FIFAe Club World Cup. Zone 5 we're in at the moment. And the best part of all, we've still got 2 more days of action in front of us. We'll be crowning 6 different zonal winners from Asia, Oceania, North America, Europe, South America, Middle East and Africa. The list goes on. Those will be the 6 winners.
So, wayward pass out the back, but Nicholas giving the ball straight back. You saw with the sort of the goals and scored and conceded for Nicholas, maybe not getting into his rhythm as of yet in this tournament. You got to remember the tournament that he won in the Club World Cup with Tex was slightly different format as well, because the 2v2 element was involved in that tournament alongside Tex when they won it with King Esports 2019, the year where he was successful.
There are any organisations, well, aren't there, Netshoes, that have been around this esports scene for a very long time. And again, look at them, SPQR. 2 organisations that have done a great job of just helping players progress, develop. Lovely ball into the box, it's in the air. What we know about that is Ronaldo 9 times out of 10 will latch on to the end of that. We'll come to anything in the end, though. Has been a goal. TTB Esports, we said they're in the same group as FC Basel. Just snatched a place in these knockouts. They do get a goal back. If you aren't aware of the format, it's a best of 3, so there's no aggregate score lines or anything like that. We're looking at sort of individual winners. It's all being played on the PlayStation 4 first, across all of our games.
Then it will be in the semi-finals where the coin toss, or should we say the console toss, comes into play. Nothing at all to separate these 2 in this first leg of the best of 3, but as we've seen, penalty shootouts, quite a common occurrence in this tournament.
Can't find the feet of Cruyff on that occasion. I mean, we say a regular occurrence because there has to be a winner, isn't there? There's no chance for a draw or the aggregate scorelines we said to go over a couple of games. You have to find a winner in each of the matches. Team makers, they'll be fortunate, they'll be saying we are in a grand final after multiple penalty shootouts. They went to penalties every single game in their best of 3 semi-final, and if you missed that in Zone 4, make sure you go back and watch it. It was a semi-final to remember. Knocking on the door is Tyke of Netshoes Esports. There's been some more goals to talk about, and that is that SPQR have equalised in that game against MGCF Esports.
We'll show you the goals the next time the ball does go out of play from all the games that have featured in this quarter-final tie. Nice build-up here from Nicholas. You get a good chance at the end of it.
Maybe so. Bruno Fernandes into the box, back to Ronaldo. It's a deflected volley that goes out for a corner in the end. That one whipped straight into the box, back into the pen of Ronaldo, and there you go. Timed it green. And as he always seems to do, heads it into the back of the net and puts Nicholas in the driving seat. You have to say, a very well-timed goal. There's only 18 minutes left in this game, and Nicholas leads by a goal to nil. What's happening around the grounds?
You see this goal here from TTB Esports, Ruud Gullit, just on the stroke of half-time. We're going over to SPQR. They've levelled up the playing field against MGCF. Patrick Vieira, all the centre-mids getting involved, and Team FUTWIZ doubling their lead here. Cristiano Ronaldo slotting past the goalkeeper to send them into a comfortable 2-0 position against Medel Esports, and that is what it means for the quarter-final stages.
Yeah, so we're looking right now at the halfway point, near enough, as we said, in this game. The reason we're not back in that Basel game, there is a pause currently. Do not worry, you're not missing the action. But yeah, that's the scores around the ground, as you can see. Lots of different results, but from what I can see in a couple of games, maybe not extra time needed. We're back in this one now. And the goal from Cristiano Ronaldo has been scored. That gives Nicholas 99 of FC Basel the lead. When you look at that roster, him and Spider-Kong, that is quite a team.
Formidable roster, Nicholas and Spider-Kong. Granted, Spider-Kong's not had the best of years compared to what he did last year in FIFA 20, but still a very, very competitive player. And actually at the Club World Cup last year with Roma Esports had a pretty good run, did Spider-Kong. Zelonius as the coach in Milan.
It's not really surprised to see some games literally end by just one goal. Of how the format is, it's about just trying to see out the result. Of how the best of three is used. Doesn't need to be a 6-7-0 flashy scoreline, does it? It's just grind out the result, get the win, put your teammate in a very, very good position to then go and finish the job and to send us into a semi-final. Brilliant ball. This could be Nicholas to conclude the tie. He's got lots of space. Keeper's off his line. De Bruyne, ball roll, somehow finds the top corner. Schmeichel left for dead. And the Belgian midfielder of Manchester City will ensure that FC Basel go into that second game with a point next to their name, Richard.
Emphatic finish from Kevin De Bruyne. The ball roll just to sort of calm the attacking player. When you shoot in stride, sometimes that shot will have a little bit more enhanced error on it. A couple of other goals right here. eLigaSul, aka Tornius, 3-1 up right now.
Yeah, another goal as well coming in from MGCF Esports against SPQR in that game. Back to this one. Is there a late goal or maybe a last chance? That's going to bounce around in the box. Keeper throws himself at it. Edison able to play a massive save there. Something to talk about quickly with that. Edison in goal for Nicholas. He likes playing
to the back,
to the feet of his keeper, doesn't he?
Yeah, very typically. Nicholas will go back to the goalkeeper. He wants a goalkeeper who can play with the ball at his feet, he can trust. That's the big word there. You trust your goalkeeper not to give a goal away, not to make a mistake that's going to lead to a goal. And that trust does fall within Edison's hands / shall we say feet.
There will be a late chance. It might just be a consolation or not. Signed with a goal, 89 minutes played. I mean, this is Nicholas we're talking about, a player that you'd like to think would be thrown away again in this moment of time. However, as we know, anything can happen. That was nearly a risky pass from Aldini into Alphonso Davies. And that will look to do us.
Oh no, wait.
4-leg one unless Trent Alexander-Arnold can get that ball into the box. Somehow, still with possession, cuts it back to Pele. What's a block from Virgil van Dijk. And Nicholas just about securing that win in the end. I mean, I said Nicholas, you don't expect him to throw away a game like that with the amount of experience that he has got. Nearly just did that.
You see TTB Esports getting a goal back here to send it 3-2. Still quite a lot of time left in that game between those two, but that is as it stands right now between all of the sides. Full-time result between Basel and Netshoes Esports. Nicholas winning 2-1. Basel within 1 point of setting themselves up to a semi-final tie. Team FUTWIZ Brazil also 3-0 up. You would think they will be going through to the semi-finals. We can have a look at that third goal actually from Team FUTWIZ right now. Cristiano Ronaldo playing into Pele. First time scoop turn, and then smash past the goalkeeper into the back of the net right there from Team FUTWIZ.
Look at this goal. I've just seen it in the corner of my eye. What on earth is happening at the back there for SPQR? I mean, I feel sorry for the goalkeeper. He's been completely stitched up.
I feel sorry for the teammate. If my SPQR teammate does that, we're having serious words. What on earth are you playing at?
It wasn't pretty. Just looking across those games, as you said, concluded time. FC Basel, that's why they've got that green sort of colour on that 2-1 result. That means that they have got a win on the board. If Spidercon, goes and wins on the Xbox now, they will be one of the first teams into the semi-finals.
So FUTWIZ as well has just finished right now. So FUTWIZ 3-0 victory in that first game right there for Team FUTWIZ Brazil. Heading on over to another very tightly contested quarter-final here between eLigaSul and also TTB Esports. 3-2 this tie. We're joining it with 5 minutes left to play.
Yeah, we are indeed. I mean, what a duo this is. MH7 and PHZin. What a duo those two make up. A very deadly duo. And the worst thing of all is that TTB Esports now have to go and play against PHZin, Richard, in the next game, where currently they have to win if there's any chance of that third matchup happening.
I tell you, we actually saw MH in action, Brandon, in the South American La Liga Fan Cup. We got the opportunity to commentate that particular event. He went out in the losers bracket round 1, but even qualifying for that event, very competitive tournament with the Argentine Charlie Human coming out victorious in the end. Live scenes here between MGCF and SPQR Brazil. MGCF leading 3-1. It'll put SPQR on the back foot in that second tie. That is a big goal from Pele, but with only a couple of in-game minutes left to play, it's up for debate. And you're looking back at that goal that you just conceded.
I mean, we could be on our way to extra time in that game in the nicest way possible. Yeah, just looking across, as we said, we'll talk more about eLigaSul in a second. I mean, brilliant roster there, 2 brilliant players. The man that's top on the Xbox, his teammate, 27th in the rankings. Added time of this game, 3-2. MGCF Esports will look to take the first win here. Got about 13 game seconds left, just ensure they keep the ball. And that very interesting piece of goalkeeping looks like that will be the difference in this game. If not, one more goal to add onto the tally. Why not? There you go.
Emphatic victory right here. SPQR need to get this result straight out of their minds if they've got any hope of going through this overall series. 4-2 defeat. You forget about that now. You move on to the second leg. Obviously, with the format of this tournament, Brandon, aggregate scores don't go across games. It's fresh resets on every single fixture. That's the full-time whistle there. MGCF currently, shall we say, 1-0 up in the series. If you get to 2, then you go through.
Yep, and as you can see, that's the full-time results across all of our first matches in the quarterfinals, all played on PlayStation. Please take that to note, because the next game we're going over to the Xbox. Rich, looking at that, any results that jump out to you? I mean, we looked at FC Basel, but that Team FUTWIZ, they've not put a foot wrong. 3-0 victory.
Yeah, you could say in the groups it wasn't the most emphatic of victories in the groups. They went through in second, but coming out in the knockouts, a fresh lease of life for Team FUTWIZ. They'll have a lot of fans behind them as well who follow Team FUTWIZ all across the world, whether it's to Australia with Jamodo, whether it's to Europe with Nightwatch and also Lyrics. They've got a huge fan base behind them, and they'll be all supporting Team FUTWIZ Brazil right now, hoping to make it into a semi-final where... What a tie that will be. I mean, if that tie does take place between FUTWIZ and Basel.
Yeah, I mean, what a game that'll be. I mean, I know Spencer touched on it, but Team FUTWIZ doing a brilliant job, you know, not just what they do in the esports scene, but they give the opportunity to give via their academies as well across. That's in the European scene, most recently now in South America, and as they always have, I should say, in Oceania. So, credit where it's due to the team working behind the scenes at Team FUTWIZ. They'll be more than happy with that start on the PlayStation.
Just going off what you said there, it's not necessarily what they do, it's how they do it. Everything very professional, everything streamlined. It's not a messy operation. You can see that very switched on behind the scenes. team FIFAe Brazil. The team to beat for me right there, you got to be looking at FC Basel. Spider-Kong and Nicholas. Nicholas doing the business in the first leg, now passing the reins over to Spider-Kong, hoping that he can potentially get it done in 2 as we are back underway here, live action from our second match of the series.
I think that I just look at this full bracket when we came into this FIFA E-Club World Cup. This is the opportunity for all of those clubs, Richard, that have done a brilliant job of sort of nurturing talent in South America, creating talent in South America, to all have an opportunity to really showcase what they are all about. 12 teams in total got themselves involved in this. We're looking, as you said, at the top 8 that got through the group stage. We're back on the way in this one. Now it's Spider-Kong's turn, Richard, a player that, I mean, had a brilliant FIFA 20. You know, kicked off the year in a fantastic way. Of course, no fault of his own that the season sort of got brought to a halt. Got himself a move after he had a spell at AS Roma, Fnatic for a period of time. Of course, AS Roma then left the FIFA eSports space. Then got picked up by FC Basel, which looks like a very, very good move for him. This is the first time we've seen him back in action for a long time. On the flip side, it's Klinger for Netshoes. He has to win this, Rich, if they want to stay in the E-Club World Cup. If they lose, it's going to be 2-0. And it'll be FC Basel that will be one of the first names to put themselves a spot in the Final Four.
Must-win game right now for Netshoes Esports.
Here comes R9. Maybe get this tie underway. R9 back inside Pele. Acres of space. Lovely ball roll. And an even better finish into the right top corner. With a massive goal, you have to say, for Netshoes.
Must win. It looks like they are going to win right now. Obviously only 15 minutes into this game, but the 10 minutes of the match that we have seen, I mean, one-way traffic. And that traffic going towards Spider-Kong's goal. Netshoes, beautiful purple kit as well. You see it in game right there. Live shots of the two players. Spider-Kong and Klinger.
Yeah, if there's anything to go off those rankings. 9th again, 28th on those Xbox rankings. You can see both players on the screen, of course, remotely within their own home. For the E-Club World Cup, Zone 5 knockout stages. We're taking you through the quarter-finals right now, as we did in Zone 4 earlier today. Nicholas, won game 1 for FC Basel. Spider-Kong was to do the same. They would book themselves a spot into the Final Four. Currently, Netshoes are wanting to take it to a third and final game, which would mean Nicholas would then step up again. Whatever console we start on in the best of 3, that is the console that we, of course, will finish on, no doubt. And, I mean, we've said it enough, and we'll say it again. All the finals across all the different zones are best of 5s, Richard. Saturday and Sunday, we'll have Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, 4, 5 and 6. All the finals taking place over the 2 days, all with best of 5 finals. So make sure you're here to see who will be the 6 overall winners. Back to goal. Klinger looks for a second, he'll get one. And he started this game in a brilliant way. 2 goals in 26 minutes, and R9 getting himself onto the score sheet. As I said, in a must-win game for Netshoes.
Must win, and really coming out absolutely flying is Klinger. Beautiful finish at that near post. Spider-Kong with a back needs a big performance because it's a back against the wall right now for the Brazilian. And again, you always consider what is Spider-Kong thinking, because he's not only playing for himself, but he's playing for his teammate who's just done the business for him. He's just gone and won a game. If you're a Basel fan, are you already thinking towards that third leg and potentially saying, well, thankfully we've got Nicholas to fall back onto?
I mean, either way, don't get me wrong, there's never a guarantee, but certainly from what we've seen already from Nicholas already this year and in past times, you'd back him in any type of game, any type of big game. It shouldn't have to come to that, no doubt. If he was to go down 3-0 here, we'd never normally see a scoreline like that, especially in a best-of-1 game. It'd be an absolute mountain to climb for Spider-Kong. Which, as you said at the moment, just seems like he can't get going.
If he goes 3-0 down, he's not turning it around.
Pele. Around the corner there, Trent Alexander-Arnold defending well.
3-0 in one leg of FIFA is, against a pro, really as close to an impossible task as possible. This is an opportunity for him, looking for that pass across the box. Virgil van Dijk, right place, right time to clear it up for Netshoes. And that ball out wide always seems to be on through Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'm not one to put the pressure on to Spider-Con by any means, but you look at, as you said, the run that he had in the group stages. He did lose his game against Inter Esports', Resende of all players. He's a very good player, but did win his game against TTB Esports' Finito, 3-0. So, it's not like he's playing bad FIFA. There's a reason why. These are the best 12, that was 12, now the best 8 teams from South America in this fridge. Only 42 could make it from, I believe, about 480 esports organisations in the end. So, I'm not trying to point the finger. It's just a case of in knockout FIFA, there isn't a second chance.
Especially in this format. It's a very harsh format, is the Club World Cup, because not only are you playing for your teammate and you're playing for a club, FIFA's predominantly a 1v1 esport, but also all the fans. I think every single year we've had a 2v2 sort of Club World Cup. You always get the people saying, well, he got carried. He was assisted by that player. It happened in FIFA 19 with Tex and Nicholas. People said that Nicholas, dare I even say, got carried a little bit by Tex. It happened last year with Complexity, Joxan and Maxi. People said that Maxi got carried by Joxan. It even happened with, you just mentioned the player Resende with 11's Esports in the final, the losing finalists with Ethan. So you always get this sort of debate and this conversation. Spider-Con doesn't want to fall into that conversation. It doesn't want to be said, the only reason you're getting into this stage of the tournament is because you're getting carried by Nicholas.
He's got half of this game, Rich, to try and turn that one around. Otherwise, he will be falling back on Nicholas to save the day, as many of these teams have done. It's a best-of-3 format in this stage of the tournament, the quarterfinals and the semi-final stage. As we said, we kicked off on the PlayStation. We're on the Xbox now. If we need to go to a third game for any of the teams, then we'll go back to that PlayStation representative. But, it opens up the debate for tomorrow, how those zonal finals are going to be going. Best-of-5 games. Some huge games between the two. We're going to jump back into the action now. At the moment, Klinger, we have to give plaudits to him. He's looked so strong. Up by 2-0, 45 minutes away. And taking us into a third game. And then we'll be Tyke against Nicholas. To the side. A spot in the semi-finals. As we said, each zone has its own prize pool. Retrospectively, $61,500 up for grabs in this one. The second highest behind Zone 4. Serious money up for grabs, and no doubt, the pride that comes with being an E-Club World Cup champion. Nicholas, one of those players, well, the only player I should say in South America that's been able to taste that pride.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody else either coming from North America or Europe. You see a couple of stats there from Spider-Con, his individual performance. Scored 3, conceded 1. Chance here for Netshoes. Good defending from Spider-Con.
Yeah, you look at the result we had. Won a game, lost a game in the groups. That group was ridiculous. All 3 teams finished on 6 points, and it went down to goal difference and wherever else it goes down to.
No one's putting up good stats, are there, from that group? Let's be honest. It's very,
it was
very
a tough
even.
Group. As every group, as you can imagine. TTB Esports were in that. Knocked out Inter Esports. Chance back to goal, and Bruno Fernandes. Got to be asking some questions there. The first chance we've actually seen at all in the game from Spider-Con, and it's a shot to forget about, in all honesty, from the Portuguese midfielder. That man on your screen, Klinger. Scored 6, only conceded 1. Defensively has been strong. Had some great performances across all of his games. Averages 3 per match. Looking for that through ball, patient as it will be. Currently sits 9th in those rankings. Looking to put the game to bed. One more into Mbappe, and you have to say, we're off to a game 3.
Yeah, get game, set and match right there. Netshoes Esports, 3-0 up overall. We're going to jump over to SPQR against NGCF. It was SPQR Brasil getting the goal to put them in front right here. think the pause just come in.
I was going to say, I just want to make sure that goal did go in.
Yeah.
It was an offside call, was it? I mean, I think
was.
it is. It
Yeah,
is.
it
We'll
was
take it
offside.
back. It is 2-0.
Wow.
I wondered why I didn't.
It looked onside.
Update on the tally. However, yeah, only 2-0, a lifeline for Spider-Kong there. And also, as you said, SPQR, they have to win that game, Rich, if they want to also take it to a third and final match. Change there. R9 coming off the pitch. It's not often you see a bad performance from R9, but to be honest, he's had nothing to do in the nicest way.
He's not had anything to work with, has he? He's very much a player, R9. Ball to feet. If you can get the ball in and around the box to R9's feet, he is deadly, but he's not going to necessarily make those runs in behind like a Team of the Year Mbappe or a Team of the Year CR7.
Double change there. Cruyff and Messi onto the fray of things. Brilliant ball over the top for Pele now to run onto of Netshoes' his very own Klinger. He knew that he had to win this game if there was any chance to keep his team in the tournament. Ronaldo got R9 in the box. Mbappe's also there. Everyone's just loading their way into the box, waiting for the perfect chance. That one played short corner. Cycle back to R9, who's not in the box. You'd expect him to be. Sitting on the edge, waiting patiently, he was. I mean, if you are Netshoes, Klinger, you're in the driving seat. One more goal certainly would solidify that. R9 teasing! Literally teasing Virgil van Dijk there.
Take
he
him
said,
out.
come out, tackle me. He just stood still, Rich, dropped the shoulder, found his way into the back of the net. He is in control now. That is perfection in the final third. Looking at some goals that are going in. TTB Esports, who are in this group with FC Basel, have just gone up by 1-0 in that one.
You see another goal right here between SPQR and MGCF. Quite fortunate for SPQR, but they do not care. 2-0 up in a must-win game to potentially send it to a game 3 against MGCF. MGCF won the fourth game 4-2.
I mean, what can be said from this performance on the Xbox from Spider-Kong? It's just been a very good performance from Klinger. I mean, the only chance I can think back to is that Bruno Fernandes half-hearted effort that didn't even go on target. Another chance now towards the back post, and he does get a goal back. If anything, a wake-up call for him. It was Cruyff that just about managed to squeeze in. I thought it was overplayed for a split second. The first real chance we've seen from Spider-Kong, is it too late?
I would say so. I would say potentially too little too late for Spider-Kong. You see the press looks rampant from Spider-Kong, potentially stealing the ball back from Virgil van Dijk. Does well to keep it, does Klinger. 3-1 up with 15 minutes left to play. A 2-goal cushion to sit on. However, a chance here for Spider-Kong. Mbappe. Is that a free kick? It is a free kick for Spider-Kong.
Yeah, a couple of changes on the flip side for Netshoes. I mean, what do you do in a winning position? There's been goals going in. Big goals as well. TTB Esports need a third game. How about that one?
What a goal. What a goal right there. You see the live scores right now from around the ground. TTB Esports leading 2-0 against Torniers. Netshoes 3-1 up against Basel. Footways currently tied 0-0. And SPQR leading 2-0 against MGCF. Free kick, I should say, comes to nothing for Spider-Kong. But the press is, again, very good. Johan Cruyff with a chance. Schmeichel, great save.
Yeah, just about on time, wasn't he, Cruyff? Scored that. Would have set us up for an incredible last 10 minutes. Still, chance, Hullet. Defensive Hullet comes out on top for Spa. Spider-Kong just can't find the space. And look at the space now for Netshoes. Klinger to put this game to bed. Watch the back post. Ronaldo will be there. R9 also in the box. He'll be looming, waiting patiently. Goes out for a corner. Just don't see him throwing this game away, really, though, in any honesty, Richard. It's in his hands.
The Johan Cruyff shot had to go in at that near post. Schmeichel with a great save, but if that goes in, 3-2 with 10 minutes left to play, we've got a game on our hands. Ronaldo inside the box, looking to send Netshoes into a game 3. Pele dancing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's gone too far.
On a solo run there. I thought he was going to be able to just tap that in easily. Again, he's got a 2-goal cushion. He can afford to waste those opportunities. Still has got the ball somehow. It's not left his forwards' feet. Still, reverse elastico. Mbappe just about does get dispossessed. Will win it back off Alphonso Davies. A pause will come in very late into the game. I don't even know if that pause will happen. 3 minutes left. Just don't think mathematically there's enough time for a way back into this for Spider-Con. There we go. Look at the space. Look at the time. Klinger to ensure it will be a game 3. Ronaldo all the time in the world. Ball around the goalkeeper. It will be a rematch for Nicholas against Tyke. He can afford to miss that again. I mean, in a normal situation where he's desperate for a goal, I'd hope that he was going to put that in the back of the net. Referee, 2 minutes of added time. Nicholas against Tyke for a third and final time, Richard. Winner of that goes into the semi-finals.
I mean, does Spider-Con get a little bit offended by that? Not scoring, sort of. Just not only enjoying the ball, but maybe even taking the mick out of him a little bit.
Well, that was PH in there. On the flip side, for Medellin. They go 1-0 down. Do score again to equalise. 76 minutes on the clock in that one. Remember that Team FUTWIZ won game 1. So again, Team FUTWIZ win the second. It would be game, set and match. They'll be into the semi-finals. In this game, a late goal. 7 minutes left in that one, Rich. I mean, it's a little bit of an unpredictable scenario we find ourselves in at this moment in time in Zone 5 here. If you have just tuned into the FIFA eClub World Cup sort of knockout stage, we're trying to find the final 4 teams. I mean, I would say FUTWIZ are the only ones that look convincing, but it's difficult to say in all honesty.
Even FUTWIZ, I mean, the first game convincing, second game sort of up in the air still. We're going to find out the result of that match very soon indeed. The facts that we can tell you, between FC Basel and Netshoes, they will be going to a game 3. Nicholas won the first game, and now Spider-Con losing that second leg 3-1. And the game that we're jumping back onto right now between SPQR and MGCF, well, it's a must-win game for SPQR to stay in the FIFA eClub World Cup.
It really is a must-win matchup. SPQR could be on their way. Chance for an equaliser. Just rushed that one. SPQR to put the game to bed. Eusebio. Ball around the goalkeeper. Referee, no.
Lovely player lock there, off the ball. Neymar looking to accelerate into space.
Minute of added time. And there you go. SPQR with an all-important win again. That's taken us to a third and final game again. I mean, we're getting to that same predicament now, Richard, where games are going to a third and final matchup because it's like the Xbox player could deliver, the PlayStation player can't deliver on the flip side of that, if you understand what we mean. And it's a different format for these guys. As we said, it was different in the group stage. It was just the best of 2 scenario in the group stage. You played an Xbox game and you played a PlayStation game. With these groups being so small, there was only 3 teams in a group. You didn't really get to play that much FIFA. Then you go into a different format now in the knockouts.
I mean, we saw it in Europe earlier, didn't we, in Zone 4. Only 1 game was done in 2 matches. All the other games, it went to the third game, a penalty shootout in numerous matches as well. So really, the one-legged format, I think it entices a lot of a more tighter game. And sort of, you expect more defensive performances because you also don't want to let your teammate down. If you're playing together as a duo and you throw that first game away, you're putting your teammate under pressure in that second leg, and no one wants to do that. No, I think there's some more goals to talk about right now, Rich. We better jump into the action where there has been some goals going in around the grounds. Is it going to be an equaliser for PHZ, a man that we said to watch out for in this tournament? Well, he didn't only score, he also conceded, Rich, in the space of about 10 in-game minutes. TTB Esports with a massive goal there. So go 3-2 up with seconds left over in this one. Team FUTWIZ saying, no, we're getting it done in 2. We're not going into a third and final game. And I think Team FUTWIZ
take that out. I took those words out of my mouth now, Richard. They are the most probably impressive team we've shown in the knockout stages. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty hard to call that.
Well, I just said it, about 3 minutes ago? Yeah, FUTWIZ, I'm not too sure on the second. Yeah, Richard, be quiet, because we're going through in 2 games. FUTWIZ do it in 2. There will be our first semi-finalist in the top 4 here in Zone 5, and a super competitive region as well in South America. And you see confirmation of all your results from Game 2 right there. FUTWIZ the only team to do it into Torneos, losing 3-2 to TTB Esports. SPQR Brasil turning it around 2-1 in that particular quarter-final tie. Basel, well, Nicholas came out flying in the first leg. Unfortunately, Spidercon couldn't reciprocate. 3-1 defeat to Netshoes Esports. But Team FUTWIZ Brasil, as we said, Brandon, coming out and doing the business.
And you have to say, one of the favourites out of this scene as well in South America, Vinny, a brilliant pick-up there for Team FUTWIZ. Just before, of course, a new FIFA launched. A player that used to play as FIFA at Netshoes Esports. And again, did so well that he caught the eye of Team FUTWIZ. That means, though, room for quite a good viewing experience. We've got 3 games left that are all going back to the PlayStation side. So keep in mind those PlayStation players. I believe the game will be focused on the most will be Nicholas 99 FC, the Iceman, the former FIFAe Club World Cup winner, up against Tyke. Will Tyke be able to put that right this time round? Because he nearly snatched an equaliser, didn't he, in leg 1? If you remember it right, there was a chance right at the end. Nicholas just about holding his nerve and ensuring that he did snatch a 2-1 win. Looking across the board, SPQR snatch a 2-1 win to ensure they get a 3rd game, and then TTB Esports also win 3-2 against PH Zin. I said a player to watch out for. He's not turned up in the knockout stages as of yet. Will his teammate be able to put that wrong? I believe it was MH7 that will be in action now. Here is the game in focus though, Richard. It's FC Basel against Netshoes Esports on the PlayStation 4. Whoever wins is into a semi-final. And as you said, whoever wins plays Team FUTWIZ.
Yeah, incredible game potentially coming up in that semi-final. Whether it's Basel or Netshoes, one of those two will be going through. One of those two, well, they'll be eliminated from the FIFA Club World Cup 2021 Championship. Great turn from Mbappe inside the box. The cancel is perfect from Nicholas and sends FC Basel 1-0 up inside the first 5 minutes.
I mean, how big is that goal from Nicholas there? After a very frustrating Xbox leg where you'd have to sit back and watch that result. Of course, no doubt, Spider going to play against a fantastic player in Klinger, but just could not get going. He scored his first goal, and in all honesty, Rich, he made his first chance after 70 minutes in that game. For Nicholas right now, probably a bit of frustration just to come out and say, I'm going to get this job done. We're going to get into the semi-finals where I've got to see a better performance from us as a team.
Absolutely. And he'll be flying the flag proudly for FC Basel as well. He's been a player for FC Basel for a number of years now. He's loyal to that club. Achieved incredible things for FC Basel as well, has Nicholas.
Here comes Tyke now. As he said, last time these two did play, it finished 2-1. Nicholas winning that game. Can he break down Nicholas? We've had the pleasure of watching Nicholas across 2 different qualifiers in the Global Series outside of the Club World Cup. With a mixture of results, he's tried to compete in tournaments such as the eLigaSul, the E-Champions League. He has not been able to, of course, participate in the E-Champions League, I should say, sorry, of that being online this year. But eLigaSul couldn't get going there, couldn't have the FIFA he wanted to play. He's ranked 2nd, we must not forget, on the PlayStation. Did win qualifier number 2 in South America. But he's trying to have, he's moved with the times, which is important for Nicholas. He's played 5 at the back, he's played 4-3-1-2. He's always had to change the way he's played. He's a bit of a perfectionist, in all honesty. That's why he's always been so good and so at the forefront of FIFA esports. And I think now he's having to change again what he wants to play. At the moment, touchwood, is working well for him.
Yeah, you see him in this 4-5-1 that he's been playing recently as well. The second variation of the formation with Hullit and De Bruyne in sort of a midfield 3 centre mids across the 5 in there for FC Basel's Nicholas. Bruno Fernandes being the other centre mid for him. Sort of R9 being pushed to the sidelines.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because R9 isn't normally someone you push to the sidelines in the nicest way, especially prime R9. But that's something that he's done. It's not just in the E-Club World Cup, where you've been able to have the access to all these players. When he's played on his own account now, I'm pretty sure that R9 isn't even featured at times.
He's also a very expensive player outside of these sort of restricted, lifted times in the Club World Cup, where all the players are available.
Chance, Bruno Fernandes on the volley at the near post. The Iceman strikes again in the E-Club World Cup and puts inside 2 goals to the good and makes it an absolute mountain to climb for Tyke. If there's any chance of him pulling this game or turning it around.
What a ball that is. What a pass to Bruno Fernandes. You often see him playing those passes. This time he was the recipient, and an unbelievable first time half volley on the bounce from Bruno Fernandes. Said it once and I'll say it again. I'll say it until the cows come home. Seemingly Bruno Fernandes is the best centre mid in FIFA 21.
It's not the case of him just being sort of like a ball playing centre mid, is it? He can go forward, he can score goals, as you've just seen there.
Anything. Anything you want him to do, he can do it. Anything.
Anything?
Yeah, probably whip up an unbelievable dinner if you want him to.
30 minutes played in this game. The 4-5-1 of Nicholas working wonders. This is another deciding game. MGCF Esports do go up by a goal to 0. It's Bruno Fernandes again.
I rest my case.
Well, let's have a look at the current standings here. There was only one team out of the 8 that was able to get the job done across just 2 games. That was Team FUTWIZ. They are in the semi-finals. At the moment, FC Basel will be setting up a semi-final against them. What a game that plans to be. As you said, the other 2 games still being played at the moment. 0-0 in that top game between eLigaSul and TTB. And as you said, MGCF Esports with Bruno Fernandes putting them up a goal to 0 against SPQR.
You see Nicholas 2-0 up right there against Netshoes Esports. Just looking at what the ties could potentially be for the semi-finals. Some mouth-watering matchups with Torneos against SPQR potentially on the cards. But back to our featured game, and Nicholas doing the business.
Yeah, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, we'll keep up to date with all the results as the goals do go in. Around those 3 different games, all being played on the PlayStation, we must remind you. At the moment, Nicholas finds a third, you'd have to say he's running away with this game. Brilliant FIFA in the box. It was a brilliant effort from Johan Cruyff, and it needed a fantastic save to deny him.
Great strike, even better save. Johan Cruyff in behind the defence, playing as a central striker, a lone striker as well. But doing the business for Nicholas.
Chance, back to goal, massive goal for Tyke. Before half-time as well, to restore a bit of hope with his R9.
Perfect time to score for Tyke. Half in the deficit, 2 goals to 1. And we saw Nicholas wasn't at his best in that first game. You would never, ever even come to think that Nicholas could throw away a 2-goal lead. Never mind nearly the advantage he had. It really is. I don't think the one-legged format suits Nicholas at all. I think he's much better over 2 legs. Taking that time to analyse his opponent and then killing him off in the second leg.
Speaking of goals, Richard, eLigaSul up by a goal to 0 against TTB Esports. As you said, these are all deciding games in the best of 3. Whoever wins goes into the semi-finals. FC Basel looking for another goal. That 2-goal cushion!
Is it in?
Is it in? Is it not? No! Somehow! Not over the line. Goal line technology wasn't even needed, but Cruyff, whoa, put some venom in that strike, didn't he?
What a strike from Cruyff right there, off the crossbar. On another day, that bounced over the line. And now the mental side of FIFA kicks in. Nicholas starts thinking, surely that had to go in. Surely that's got to go in. And reassess the game at half-time with a 2-goal cushion.
Chance. Last one up the half. Is he onside? No, he's off. That'll probably do us for the first 45 here. She said Nicholas thinking I could have a 2-goal sort of cushion at this point in the game, Rich, in all honesty. 3 goals to 1 it could have been. Instead it is 2 goals to 1. But that goal and that only chance he was able to create for Tyke is huge now, looking at the complexion of this game. eLigaSul did score a goal in the form of MH7, and that was Pele that scored that goal. SPQR also heating things up. Pull it on the score sheet.
Looking to turn that game around, SPQR tying up at 1 apiece. There are your scores at half-time from the quarter-final stages. You might see only 3 quarter-finals are in play. Well, that's because Team Footwiz did it in 2, 3-0 and a 2-1 victory. We're going to be jumping back to the FC Basel game where Nicholas leads 2 goals to 1. If people are just joining us, Brandon, why don't you explain a little bit of the format? Why are we playing 3 games? Why do Basel only need to play 2? I mean, Western Footwear's only played 2.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's the best of 3, isn't it, at the end of the day? You know, we kicked off on the PlayStation. Obviously, in each of these teams, there's a PlayStation player and an Xbox player. Depending on the order of play in the quarterfinals, it is set as PlayStation first on this side of things in Zone 5. So Nicholas started on the PlayStation 1, his first game. Then went over to the Xbox Spider-Kong, losing to the hands of Klinger, meaning we have to go to a 3rd game in the best of 3, Richard. And at the moment, Nicholas does lead by 2 goals to 1. He's 45 minutes away from setting up a semi-final against Team Footwiz, which could be, for me, probably the game of the semi-finals. That looks like a great one that could happen. But you can't write off Tyke. He only created 1 chance in the first 45. But what did he do with that chance? He put it into the back of the net. Was so clinical with it. Here comes Nicholas. Wants that 2-goal cushion. Will he find it? Cruyff, brilliant reverse. Elastico! Even better finish from the Dutchman. Nicholas back in pole position.
Incredible from Johan Cruyff. We were asking questions. Where is R9? Why is R9 not in the squad? Johan Cruyff, beautiful piece of skill inside the box to turn away from his man. And then an incredible driven finish past the goalkeeper. Johan Cruyff, the only thing maybe setting me back in his shot power wasn't an issue on that occasion. Smashed past the goalkeeper.
And the biggest storyline is that that's the player that plays instead of R9 for Nicholas.
Yep.
There has to be a reason why. In moments like that, he has to prove why. And so far, so good for Nicholas. A man who's currently 2nd on those PlayStation rankings. Even from home, he's still so good.
So clinical as well. He doesn't really miss chances. He doesn't waste opportunities, does Nicholas?
Still plenty of time left in this game. It's got to be better from Tyke, but I mean, it's no easy feat playing against this type of player who now, honestly, will change the way he wants to play, Nicholas. He can just starve you of possession. Speaking of goals, there's been one that's got in. And it is TTB Esports that replied. Over in that game, ball whipped into the box. It could be 3, headed away well, nearly back to Cruyff.
Whenever these corners are coming into the box, Nicholas is timing every single header green. Nobody is timing things green in FIFA 21. Yet Nicholas still just shows the levels that he possesses. Chance up the other end here for Netshoes. Pele played inside to Cristiano Ronaldo, now linking up to his namesake R9. Back to Bruno. Ronaldo dipped over the top for R9. Beautiful play. Goalkeeper does well to punch it away. And Nicholas will bring it up the other end through who else but Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, of course, in that game, as we said. 2-2 now in that one. Wow. MGCF Esports against SPQR. I mean, those two certainly much tighter than this one. Nicholas looking to jump onto a loose ball there. Kevin De Bruyne couldn't latch his foot around that one. 20 minutes away. Nicholas and his teammate Spidercon from a semi-final, a top 4 finish in Zone 5. Unless Tyke's got other ideas, can he turn his man? Does very well, Ronaldo. Lovely sort of pivot on the ball to turn away from the man. We'll find the back of the net. There is still time in this game.
He's not had a lot of chances, has Tyke. But when he's had a sniff in around the box, he's been very, very deadly. What a turnaround.
Oh, this could be game over. You can forget that. Mbappe, super composed, into the right top corner. And was there any doubt really for Nicholas? He's into another semi-final. You can write that one down right now. I'll back it. It's going to be FC Basel against Team FUTWiz with 17 minutes left.
You just see the 5-3-2 right there for Nicholas. Only at half-time between MGCF and SPQR. That goal went in right there for MGCF into the second half of play. SPQR answered back 2 apiece between those two right now. And that's how it currently stands with 75 minutes on the clock.
And this is Nicholas. I mean, talk about a craftsman still perfecting his craft. 5 back to close out the game. And why not?
With Vieira at central centre-back.
Starting to do a job there. Can the French icon? It's a brilliant goal from Tyke, but just seconds later where naturally Tyke's had to become very offensive in the way he's played. There was a huge sort of pocket of space. It was an easy goal in the end for Nicholas. We'll keep you up to date in those other 2 games, which look so tight right now. I believe there's been a couple more goals.
And we'll show you those goals very shortly indeed. You can see them on your screen, the live update. SPQR now leading 3-2. Netshoes getting one back. 4-3 with 13 minutes left to play.
Making me maybe get the rubber out as well.
You said it were locked in,
yeah,
so you've got to back that.
I could be out of a job at this rate. It was like this in the last game they played. Nicholas had a 2-goal cushion. There was 10 minutes left, conceded, and then put all this pressure on himself. The best thing he can do is go and score again. How's that goal given Tyke the belief that he needs? Got fresh players on the field as well. Eusebio being one of them.
Just going into that other game as well. eLigaSul Tornadoes 2-1 down, Brandon. One of the favourites coming into it. That team that has PHs in on the roster, trailing 2-1.
Well. Nicholas, 5 back, inviting all the pressure in the world. Can he deal with the pressure, though, from Netshoes' Tyke? This is nice in the box room. Back to Pele! And I better get the rubber out, because that game isn't confirmed yet, is it?
Wow. Tyke has not given up on this game all series long. Incredible from Netshoes. 4-2 down with 13 minutes left to play. 2 goals inside 15 minutes. Incredible scenes.
Well. Looks like we're going to extra time in Zone 5. Unless the Iceman can keep his calm in these moments now. Ronaldo does get dispossessed.
Oh.
Back it falls to Alphonso Davies. Cruyff back defending, everyone back defending for Tyke. Can Nicholas find a way back around the corner?
No.
Cruyff, Robertson has to go. Oh, right it back in again for a semi-final.
That is what Nicholas does. You said, can he keep his cool? He's got ice running through his veins. He's the Iceman for a reason. Beautiful reverse elastico from Johan Cruyff. Tyke is in agony right now.
Last chance of the game, last kick, and it's business as usual for the 2019 FIFAe Club World Cup champion. I mean, you can understand why Tyke does feel so upset and hard done, but that was the last chance of the game. But that is Nicholas for you. He can have seconds left. He can just provide these moments of magic. And that is why Cruyff is his number 9. It's not R9, it's Cruyff that's in the team and scoring those big goals.
We've seen some remarkable displays in the FIFA E-Club World Cup. That is right up there with them. Credit to Tyke. A remarkable performance from that young man. But Nicholas just doing what he does best in competitions.
It doesn't matter if he's at Atlanta or at home. He doesn't. He's just that good. And there you go. We'll get to see a smile from him eventually. But it was all business from him as usual. Yeah. That will be a semi-final in the books. I can forget rubbing it out now. It's there. There you go. You can see it on your screen. It's FC Basel against Team Foot Wiz. At this moment in time, those other 2 games have not been concluded yet, but you can see what the current scorelines are. It looks like SPQR will be going through. Richard Buckley, I've just heard a huge scream from you.
We're going to get back to that game. Live pictures right now. eLigsSul have just equalised in the 90th minute. I was watching it off stream.
Well. We're yet to see extra time in Zone 5. However, it wouldn't be the E-Club World Cup without some more drama. Looks like we could be on our way. And yet we are. 30 more minutes needed in this one.
We're going to see that goal right now that set up this extra time period. It was a 90th minute chance. You see it sort of building up here. I was just watching out the corner of my eye. Beautiful play. Cristiano Ronaldo inside the box and just smashed it past the goalkeeper. Just when you thought we were all said and done for the quarterfinals. One more unbelievable late goal, and you can see what the semi-finals are shaping up like. SPQR Brazil, they are running out victors 4-2. That is full time now. They will be in the semi-finals. FC Basel 1893 Esports and also Team Foot Wiz Brazil. That will be a matchup. We've got 1 game left. These are the goals that sent SPQR into the semi-finals, Brandon.
Yeah, we'll talk you through those now. 3-2, that one was. And then just to ensure it was job done from SPQR, brilliant ball into the box. And who else would it be than the fellow Brazilian in Pelé, sending the Brazilian esports organisation into a semi-final here. I mean, 2-2 the scoreline between 2 unbelievable teams. TTB Esports, as we call them, eLigaSul. We're back into extra time here, and this is MH7 against Max Zera of TTB Esports. All up for grabs, all to play for. To be honest, I expected a little bit of a smoother ride from eLigaSul. Looking at their roster coming into this, they've got P8 on their books, and
he's only played 1 game though, and he lost.
Didn't win.
Yeah. In the Club World Cup, it's a very unforgiving format. If your so-called star player doesn't perform, what do you do then?
There's no plan B, is there?
No, there's not. They were expecting him to win. You go through in 2, plain sailing, you're going into the semi-finals and you're cushy. Instead, you're having to score 90th minute equalisers.
That's what Nicholas didn't score the equaliser, he scored the winning goal in the 90th minute. As you said, that game is set in stone. Team Foot Wiz against FC Basel will be coming up very, very soon in the semi-finals. We're yet to find the final name in the final 4, though. Will it be TTB Esports or eLigaSul? Of course, eLigaSul kicking from left to right in this first half of extra time. 10 minutes already played of the time. Who will hold their nerve in this scenario now? Patient build-up from their PlayStation representative, MH7. Player who said that we've seen involved in tournaments.
It's been quite a quiet first 15 minutes here in extra time, but there might be a chance at the end of this first 15.
Cruyff back to Ronaldo. What a block! Virgil van Dijk, a player we don't always often get to see in pros teams at home because maybe he's not the ideal choice. I mean, Carl Walker's normally in any back four, so it seems, and there are restrictions that must be followed.
Yeah. basically in the FIFA Global Series, you're only allowed 2 Team of the Year / Icon players. Are you going to play one of your premium players as a centre-back? No. The regular Virgil van Dijk simply isn't quick enough this far into the power curve of FIFA. However, the 96 Team of the Year Virgil van Dijk is more than capable of doing a job at centre-half. Ronaldinho, as a centre defensive midfielder, not typically the position that you would see him played usually, but that's what happens when you throw the kitchen sink. Players have to come on, go into a 3-back, everyone gets forward, and if you score, well, you play Mbappe and Ronaldinho at CDM.
And that is the case, as we're seeing right now. I mean, these players, you call them super players in terms of the amount of incredible stats they've got. Maybe not defensive stats, but it's a conversation for another day. Here we go. Chance. This could be Max Zera of TTB Esports. Does well with Mbappe. Scoot turns his way past Davies. Still in possession. Runs it just out of play. 4. A goal kick in the end. You see both players on your screen there. M87. Max Zera of TTB Esports. Both had very different runs in the groups. eLigaSul top their group, 9 points they were able to bag. On the flip side, TTB Esports were involved in that very, very tight group 2, which, as you said, Basel were involved in, Inter Esports were involved, and they all finished on 6 points.
The group of death was it named after the draw, and boy did it live up to the naming. Chance.
Sabio. Haven't really got to see too much of him in action so far. Patient build-up. This could be one of the last chances of the game. We have to remind you, we could be on our way to penalties here. Chance around the corner. Ronaldinho with the best pass we'll see all day to ensure that's a guaranteed goal, and no doubt the easiest that Cristiano Ronaldo would have scored. And they're about 5 minutes away, eLigaSul, from a spot in the semi-finals against SPQR.
Very smart. Very, very smart goal right there. You saw the one more pass, the perfect pass, I like to name it, from Ronaldinho, just teeing up Ronaldo and say, go and win the game, Cristiano. Go and win the game for us and send us into the semi-finals. Remarkable.
Will that be enough? That is the all-important question we've seen time and time again. Late drama, late goals in the tournament so far across Zone 4, Zone 5, as we said, over the weekend, tomorrow and Sunday. We're bringing you all the Zone finals, 6 of them in total here. The FIFAe Club World Cup. Ronaldo there on the score sheet again. Is that enough for eLigaSul? Or will TTB Esports have enough left to maybe just snatch a goal? Look at the space in the back post.
Chance.
Brilliant ball.
Oh. What a tackle that is from Virgil van Dijk. He's been heroic at the back.
Just how sure you got to be in those moments as well. In the box, we know how penalties can be. Chance again for TTB. A little bit too heavy for Cruyff. Oh. It's another great save. And we're into added time now. That save could be enough. Expect the corner to be played short. It will. TTB Esports, last chance of the game for them. R9,
that's it.
Poor pass, and that'll be the end of their road to the tournament. Cleared out of play. And eLigaSul needed extra time and a third game to ensure that they could continue their run in the FIFAe Club World Cup. They will play SPQR now in the semi-finals. It came down to that incredible pass, as you said, from the forward. Loved it into R9. Cristiano Ronaldo, I should say, and ensured it was 3-2 in the end. It sets up that, Richard, as the final 4.
It was far from plain sailing for eLigaSul, but they did go through in the end, 3-2. SPQR went through 4-2 in that final match. Basel, a last-minute winner from Nicholas, and Team Footwiz went through in 2 games, the most comfortable of all the competitors here in Zone 5.
Yeah, exactly that. As you said, final 4 in front of us now. We're going to throw it back over to Layla and Spencer to do the coin toss ahead of those semi-finals.
Well, it seems like it's a decider day 1 because we've just had the amount of deciders and penalties that we've seen today is intense. Another moment that's going to be intense is this moment We're about to do the coin toss to find out which platform the next games are going to be played on.
Yeah.
I won't put the pressure on you or jinx you by saying that there's every chance that could smash this table if you drop it. I'll just not mention that at all.
You're right, though. It is crucial because generally we're seeing the team that gets either the pick or you can say the stronger player to go first. They do tend to win because it makes sense. You get that extra game. Anyway, you ready for it?
So first we are going to do the coin toss for FUTWIZ versus Basel, our first semi-final.
OK, this is for FUTWIZ versus Basel. That was a terrible...
It's all right, good catch.
Yeah, I caught it, but it didn't spin much. But we're going to go Xbox. That's 3 Xboxes in a row.
So
right,
that's Xbox. And this is for SPQR versus Torneos. They'll be playing on the...
Is it Xbox again? That's the question. No! It is PlayStation. PlayStation is the pick there. So, OK, it's going to be PlayStation pick one. First pick for that one. So, yeah, I mean, it does make a difference. It does make a difference. We're seeing the teams that have their favourite player going first tend to do well because it makes sense. And these games are needing deciders. You're calling it decider day. Yeah. I think it shows you just how tight the level is between these players.
How tight the competition is.
Constantly.
We're going to analyse it a little bit more. When I say we, Spencer is going to analyse it a little bit more in a moment. But first, back over to our casters.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about those coin tosses for a split second, Richard. That means that Spider-Kong has to step up first now against Vinny in that semi-final game. It's about time he's got to really turn up because this is semi-final time.
Yeah, got to step up to the plate. On the other side of that, you're only getting one game for PH in as well. and really the player that this team have been relying on for a number of these games. We're going to run through 3 of the 4 games right here, all the goals in the particular matchups. MGCF, Bruno Fernandes on the score sheet. SPQR up the other end. This goal to equalise the game. Ruud Gullit smashing past the goalkeeper. On the stroke of half-time, R9 Ronaldo in down the byline, just cuts it back for Mbappe, who prods it past the goalkeeper into an empty net. SPQR did not go quietly, though. Kylian Mbappe getting one back, and it went on to kill the game off. 2 late goals in the final 15 minutes for SPQR. This one 6 minutes later. Ronaldo into Pele, gets his brace for the game and sees SPQR into the semi-finals.
Yeah, as you said, that was one of the teams that ensured they made it into the final 4 there. Pele ensured he did enough to send SPQ up into that matchup, as we said, against eLigaSul. That's your final 4. That's how it all does look, and you can see all the scorelines on the left-hand side of your screen in the end. I mean, Rich, you look at maybe a standout game in that one. It probably has to be Team FUTWIZ.
Yeah, Team FUTWIZ, unbelievable performance, but that will do us for the quarter-finals from the commentary desk. Let's head back over to Spencer to break down one of the games from the quarter-finals.
Thanks, chaps. Yeah, I've got a couple of moments I want to share with you guys, have a little bit of a deeper dive into from the eLigaSul Torneos game versus TTB. So this one's going to be about sort of not quite 1-2s that we looked at earlier, but more about fast one-touch passing in and around the box and how effective it can be in scoring you a goal. So we've got it paused right here, first of all, and I want to look at 3 players here who are sort of forming a bit of a triangle, if you like, on the edge of the box at the moment. And they've got 3 defenders against them. So you could argue these 3 chaps here, you know, how are they going to get through them? And what they're going to do is they're going to use this man in the box as a pivot, essentially. He's in the box. So when he gets the ball, the defending team, they're going to want to close that down quick because it's dangerous. When you're in the box, things can happen. So the defence you're going to see is slowly going to emanate towards him. And what the attacking player is going to do, which in this case is ELS Torneos, they are going to use him as a sort of a wall. Bounce the ball off him, get straight back to Pele. Pele's just passed to Ronaldo. This pass has just happened here, and he's continued his run. Okay, he's pressed the button that allows him to keep going. So we're going to let it play through now. It's going to be one touch. It's going to be Ronaldo into Ronaldo, I believe. Straight back to Pele, and then he gets on his left foot. Pretty easy from there. But it was all about the work that led up to it. And we're going to look at a second clip here, which is similar. So if we look at the man on the ball now, which is Ronaldo again, and we look at the 3 off of it. So we've got these 3 players off the ball, and that's who the defence is going to really focus on. They're going to worry about where they get, and you're going to see the defence get deeper and deeper as a result. But if we just play it through, actually, and we focus on this man, watch how much space they allow him. They allow him to keep bringing the ball forward if we play it. He gets more dangerously into territory, which opens up opportunities. So he's going to keep coming, and now he starts to think about passing it. And once again, just like we had before, we've got a bit of a triangle that's been formed between these 3 guys, okay? And it's all about one-touch passing, really quick. What we're going to see is the ball come into Pele, he's going to hold it up, and then not 2, but 3 one-touch passes in the box. If you can play passes this quickly in the box, it's going to be very hard for your defence, even at this level, to stop it. So watch the passing between Pele. But also I want you guys to focus on this man here, which I believe is Johan Cruyff, I think. He's going to make a dummy run. We're not going to use him. The ball's never going to touch him, but because he's going to make a run right across the defensive line, it's going to be very tough for them to track the passes that do get played. So watch it. Ronaldo into Pele here. Pele holds it up for a little bit, waits for the run of Ronaldo. Cruyff made the dummy, and now it's one touch back to Pele, one touch back to Ronaldo. You're in the box, you're in the danger zone, and that's the goal. So it's all about quick passing in and around the box. If you make your decisions quick enough, the defence can't do anything about it. There we go. Analysis complete.
So there we go. We've got in our semi-finals FUTWIZ versus Basel, SPQR versus Torneos, and we have a Spencer Owen in his element with that analysis and iPad.
Thing is, I like analysing goals like that because they're the sort of goals that I can score too.
Oh, yeah,
You've got these skill moves, these great things. It's very hard. I mean, obviously, these guys have got great players at their disposal, but anyone can score goals like that. It's just about making your mind up quickly. Now,
I want to chat about these deciders a little bit because they were quite exciting. First off, the Nicholas last-minute land grab for FC Basel.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Nicholas today. This is why. He does this. The ice in his veins. I call him the Iceman. They call him Iceman. It's like, I think that's a different way of saying it, but the Iceman is called that for a reason. He clutches up when you need him to. He's already won a regional qualifier this year, qualified 2 in South America, so he's on top form. He's not just a man that's won big events previously, he's winning them now, and he's looking good that he could go the distance here if SpiderCon can keep up. And then a goal that got Richard Buckley screaming by Torneos. I mean, that game
90-minute goal as well.
And we saw a few of them. Like, we're seeing a lot of late-minute goals.
The desire's there, isn't it? It's no, like...
Everyone wants to win. You're actually obviously watching, when we see their face cams as well, you're seeing how gutting it is when you do go out late, whether it's penalties, whether it's a goal or not. But these games are delivering late, I'm very happy to say. We're seeing these deciders left, right and centre. They go in the distance. I don't know if we can handle more games like this. I want someone just to come out and win convincingly, please.
to protect our hearts. Yeah. MGCF versus SPQR, another decider. Yeah. Really high scoreline there as well.
Yeah, 4-2 to SPQR in the deciding game there. So a little bit... I say it's close. It still went to a decider, do you know what I mean? So it's a little bit more convincing on that front. But yeah, I mean, these performances are top-notch. Felipe coming up with his win there. What I liked about that one is it was actually a reversal of the scoreline. So I'm going to say his name wrong here, I'm sure, but I'm going to go Olguvia. He actually lost to Crepaldi in the first game. They had to rematch that for the decider, and he turned it around and won 4-2. This is why often you see two-legged matches in FIFA events, because one 90-minute game doesn't necessarily tell you who's on top.
Yeah. Well, we had like penalties galore and the pain of penalties galore with Zone 4. Here it's all on the deciders. We saw Tyke's face as well. How are they going to be feeling going out on a decider like that?
Well, you got to feel for Tyke because that was a crazy game. Yeah. He had a chance, you know, up until the last minute or so. But that's FIFA. Unfortunately, these goals come thick and fast, and it's great for us when the deciders are 5-4 scorelines, rather than a 1-0. So it was just great for the neutral, that game, wasn't it?
And so we go on to the semi-finals. FUTWIZ versus Basel. How does that line up for you?
I mean, I said, for me, the two teams that I picked out are still in it. I mean, they both needed a little bit of, you know, deciding ultimately to go through. FUTWIZ the only team that didn't. FUTWIZ the only team left that actually did it the quickest way possible across 2 games. So we've got to take them really seriously now. Vinny and Eligazul are through, but they're going up against Basel. I still believe they're the tip for the championship. It just depends if SpiderCon can match it, because you look at the 3 games they played there, 2 wins, both by Nicholas. SpiderCon did lose his game. Is that going to come back to bite them eventually? These matchups are obviously going to be different. We're going to see SpiderCon against Vinny. Vinny's a top player. And we're going to see Nicholas against Lugo Zaledo again. So I don't think it's as simple as saying Basel are going to win, because they were my sort of pre-tournament favourites.
Console as well, because that Basel game is going to be on the Xbox.
Yeah, the fact that it's going to be Xbox is massive for FUTWIZ.
Yeah.
It's huge for FUTWIZ because it means Nicholas only gets the 1 game. You've got to win it.
And then the second semi-final, SPQR versus Torneos. What can we expect there?
Yeah, I think that's going to be another great game. You know, we didn't see as much as, you know, we talked about PH Zin before, and he's won 2 out of 3 regionals. Expecting big things from him. He did lose his game. He had to rely on his teammate. That's why it's so important, you know, to have a really balanced team this year. It was MH7 that got the win across 2 games there. They got Torneos through. So we're seeing both players come through. I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, it's time now to find out who will go through to the final. It's time for our semi-finals for Zone 5. We're going over to our casters, Mark Hatcher and Dan Gaskin.
Thank you very much, and it is time, Dan. I'm looking across at you because I've got a smile on my face, my friend. It's semi-final time. The quarterfinals was an absolute blast. We've seen so many teams fall. We've seen late drama. We've seen late goals. We've seen smiles. We've seen hearts being broken. Semi-final time now. We've only done the quarterfinals. It's going to be amazing.
We've seen so many penalty shootouts today. I think I've seen more penalty shootouts in this tournament than I did throughout the entirety of FIFA 20. It's absolutely insane how closely contested all of these games have been. But we're getting to crunch time now. Semi-finals, we want to see who our finalists are going to be. They've all been very impressive teams, but now this is where we're going to set the men from the boys, right? We're going to see whether the likes of Nicholas can actually get through because of Spider-Kong. We've seen all these teams have an advantageous player. A player who's been able to kind of carry the weight of their teammate on their back. But because of the way the coin flip went, we're now seeing the arguably weaker players having to play 2 matches here, and Spider-Kong, that's a lot to rest on his shoulders.
However, I wanted to talk about Spider-Kong because he's one of those players who can find form in an instant. Oh, yeah. It's one of he can have a couple of bad games, and then all of a sudden, Spider-Kong returns, and he's screaming Vamos across the arena. And we're like, Spider-Kong's here. It's about time. You know, unfortunately, he won't be in the arena, but in the virtual space, we should say. But, I mean, I look back at the FIFA E-Club World Cup last year. And, you know, Lionel Messi, last gasp winner. Spider-Kong was the man behind the controller for that big moment, which we all remember and we all know and we all love. He can do it. And maybe the added pressure now on his shoulders is what he needs to push himself to that next level, because he knows that Nicholas is only going to have 1 game. And even with Nicholas having 1 game, Nicholas isn't guaranteed to win that game. Spider-Kong has to produce results here.
Yeah, I mean, he has to do his job. Like, they could get it done in just 2 here and not go all the way to 3. Is that likely to happen after all the games we've seen today? The majority going to 3? Probably not. But, yes, Spider-Kong is that player who does bring that passion. He is really the stark opposite of what we see on Nicholas. Nicholas, who's very calm, cool. You chat to him and he's like, yeah, man, like, I'm just having a good game. And then Spider-Kong, you chat to him, he's like, yeah! And it's a little bit intimidating, but then you mesh them together, and it is an amazing team that we are seeing. And then on the other side, we've got SPQR, you've got ELS, you've got PH Zin, who also has a lot of responsibility. But again, he's not going to be playing the 2 matches. It's over to PlayStation.
Interesting. I think this is interesting because you look at MH7 and we were talking about Spider-Kong and how maybe he hasn't yet found the form. But then we've just seen PH Zin, who everyone was talking about before this tournament kicked off, right? We've talked about him. 2-time regional qualifier champion, looking like another superstar to come out of the region. But his teammate has stepped up. He hasn't been the player who's been winning every single one of his games. It's been MH7. And to know that as a player, not only for MH7, knowing that I've got a player right next to me who can produce these amazing results when it matters, but for PH Zin to take the pressure off your shoulders as a player, as part of a team who everyone is expecting to win, a little bit like Nicholas maybe. If Spider-Kong starts picking up results, then all of a sudden the pressure goes off of their shoulders and they can start playing at an even higher level than we expect.
And it is more pressure, I feel, than what we saw in the E-Club World Cup last year, because it is the continuous 1v1 format. We don't have the benefit of 2v2. You don't have the 2v2 to fall back on where suddenly you are alongside your partner. Instead, you have to go straight back into that 1v1, and it looks like we are jumping straight into this game, Mark, and there has already been a goal.
Yeah, already a goal, and it's Basel who have got the goal, and it is that man we were talking about who needed to step up, who has stepped up. A great start here in the semi-final for FC Basel, and Spider-Kong behind the controller is producing some goods, but has to be careful here, as now he's defending.
Yeah, and of course it is going to be Team Footwiz in the Footwiz kit from right to left, and then Basel in the Basel kit from left to right. And in the early stages, it does look like it is end-to-end action. Both teams just going at each other right from the get-go. No one really trying to dominate possession just yet.
Of course, on the other side for Footwiz will be Vinny here. Going down early, I talked about confidence. I always mention, you know, how important early goals are, how important confidence is, just to find that flow. And Spider-Kong is the man who gets things underway. We're going to jump over to this game now. We have SPQR going up against ELS Torneos. 0-0 in this game, as you can see, only just got underway. And it's time for MH7 to once again step up for his team and continue the good form that we've seen from it.
Yeah, and in the group stages, on the other side for SPQR, Guvia, he didn't really have that form that we see across the other side in MH7. Drew a game and lost a game. Okay, they're only playing 2 games, so there's not as much statistics to go off as there was in Zone 4, for example. However, there will certainly be some performances there where he would have liked to have had some improvements and got some more goals. But maybe he can make up for it here in the semi-finals and try and get SPQR towards this grand final here.
Well, SPQR now on the attack, and they will be in the SPQR Esports kit. Who'd hull it now on the edge of the box. Lovely little lofted pass, and there's that little directional nutmeg. There's the cricketer as well. Great agility from Kylian Mbappe, unfortunately for him. The only thing to stop that one finding the back of the net was the goalkeeper, but he could do nothing about this. SPQR take the lead.
And that's the danger of not bringing that keeper out quick enough. Take the corner as fast as possible, pump it out to the front post. The keeper dashed back into goal, and it was just a free header, which for most people would not be a free header.
I was going to a free header. I'm questioning that because I look at it and I saw 3 men trying to get close to Cristiano Ronaldo, but it didn't matter because he rises highest as always and wins that header. Unbelievable stuff.
It's only really the goalkeeper that can challenge Cristiano Ronaldo. So if he is in that goal, it does feel free. It shouldn't be, looking at the amount of bodies were there. Well, that is going to be a goal lead. SPQR will take the lead through Guvia on the PlayStation for this first leg.
So looking for the reply. ELS Tonio said is into R9 and almost an instant reply. Once again, a block coming in from one of the centre-backs. Change on the corner kick taker as Bruno Fernandes whips that one in. For a second there, I saw the shadow of Cristiano Ronaldo arriving at that front post once more.
And we knew that he was going to be having that impact as soon as there was any sort of item that just added a few more statistics. I mean, of course, base goal Cristiano Ronaldo can also do a similar job in the air. Still can jump. But as soon as those stats are improved ever so slightly, the informed Cristiano Ronaldos are bad enough, or good enough, should I say. That team of the year, Cristiano Ronaldo, different gravy. And certainly makes it very difficult to defend from corners.
On that right-hand side then, an opportunity to get in behind, but the fake shot kind of just showed a bit too much of the ball to the defender. Fairly simple tackle to be made. And now once again we go through that midfield. Remember here, spot in our finals is on the line for all of the teams involved here. From however many we had right at the start of the FIFA E-Club World Cup for Zone 5. And there was a lot of them. We are now down to our final 4. And after these games, we'll cut that down to 2. Here's Hullet on the edge of the box.
ELS looking to try and make it another good performance. They took down TTB in the quarterfinals earlier on today, and that's going to be a free kick. I don't think Van Dijk's going to be taking this one somehow.
Well, back in his Celtic days, I remember him sinking a few. Instead, it's going to be taken short here. Here's Cristiano Ronaldo again looking for that fake shot. Virgil van Dijk in at that centre-back position. It's great to see him back, to be honest. We had a lot of talk about centre-backs and with restrictions, but you know, Virgil van Dijk was such a mainstay last year in FIFA 20. It's almost as if you expect to be saying his name in every single team. And that Team of the Year foot item certainly added him back into that player pool. But this is beautiful passing once more and a strike at goal. Not for the first time the save, but got to defend from this corner.
Yeah, make sure you move that keeper if it's going to be knocked near post this time. The header not get past the keeper. I'm a little bit disappointed, I'm going to be completely honest, from the free kick, just playing it short. I felt like it was within range where you could have a pop at it. A little bit closer, and I feel like 90% of pros are definitely going to hit it.
You love the spectacular.
I do love the spectacular. I just want to see free kicks go in. I mean, I've asked for years, I just want people to shoot from set pieces. We finally get a FIFA where set pieces are good. Like, you can score from them consistently, but clearly not close enough for the ELS side. We'll see whether they can get back into it. Still early stages at the moment, still promising signs on both ends. Mainly dangers from head height. It's SPQR.
Well, there's a lot of men floating forward here and a massive chance. The goalkeeper has to make himself big. And all of a sudden there, 7 had so many players just flowing forward through that midfield position, getting beyond that back line, and once again he's in, and this time Cristiano Ronaldo gets around the goalkeeper. For the last-ditch block, turns that one behind, but all of a sudden it just feels like this game has changed as Ronaldo goes up for that header once more.
I thought that one was more free than the one we saw at the other side, to be completely honest. But just behind Cristiano Ronaldo, and very much an aggressive game that we're seeing. Perhaps we'll see one of these players just try and slow things down soon, but I guess it's ELS to do so, and that's almost a chance, but keeper coming off his line very quickly.
Multiple saves at both ends in the last few minutes. This is doesn't feel like a semi-final. This feels like one of those warm-up games that two players are just going, hey, let's just get ourselves warm, let's get the fingers moving. Both players just flying at each other. A little bit of a loose pass there is going to turn possession back over, and Mbappe now will go out wide. Pele. Inside, once again, runners from midfield. It's Patrick Vieira actually breaking from midfield, and that might give an opportunity on the counter-attack now, as there will be that space just in front of that back four to attack.
I don't know whether it's a lack of respect for the opponent or maybe too much respect for the opponent, knowing what they can do if they have too much of the ball. So it's just very quick attacks, trying to get to the other side of the pitch, trying to break down the teams early before you just get a blockade of players around the box. Very similar in terms of possession. You can see 53% in favour of ELS. So no one really dominating the game.
Now we have a little period of calm, and this is just SPQR. Just waiting for that last attack, but the ball given away here, and the ball in behind as well, and taking advantage when the opportunities present themselves is so important at this stage of any tournament. And now you see, when that opportunity is presented, it is taken, and there is the equaliser.
Right on the 45th minute as well, just before they're into their dressing room. Don't think there's going to be a chance at an attack for SPQR here. Ball goes out of play. That will be the half-time whistle. He's tried that through ball 2 or 3 times, and then eventually it pays off. And there is something about like the defenders that we're seeing and the choices that we're seeing. Like the pace isn't quite there, it seems.
Not at the moment, but looking across here at the scores from both of our semi-finals. Obviously, we've been watching the first one, the one at the top of the bracket you can see there, but SPQR, who was up by 1, Dan, now finds himself trailing as Team FUTWIZ Brazil find themselves in the lead 2-1. The goals are here.
I tell you what, was this a goal from a free kick? It was something a little bit different. Oh, it's bumbled through. Please tell me this doesn't end up in a goal. Oh, it does. Pullis wrestled it back, and that was how Team FUTWIZ Brazil got the equaliser. And as you mentioned, they went 2 up. Nice quick reaction there to play the ball back to R9. And SPQR, well, the questions were asked, and he's going to have to come back with some answers in the second half of that tie. But we are poised nicely, where we still don't really know what that final is going to look like, as both games very tight indeed.
Yeah, I'm down for calling that game 1-1, because that second goal was wasn't the prettiest, was it? But, of course, every single goal counts here. It will be 2-1 in that game to FUTWIZ. As we go back over to our feature game now, 1-1. We did see that goal right at the end of our first half here, which gives us the scoreline that you see in front of you. But it's been a bit of a strange game for me. There's been periods of quiet, and then it feels like both teams have all of a sudden decided, hey, we've got to score some goals here. We're going to fly forward. We're going to try and take the initiative. And there's been 3 or 4 chances, one at both ends for both teams, as we might see one of those chances here. So Mbappe gets in the box. So once again, it's a block.
Good defending, just trying to force him to actually take the shot rather than offering up the cutback. We will see maybe something again from the corner. This time it is played short. We're not going to see Cristiano Ronaldo darting in, and actually maybe even a counter-attack here.
Mbappe just waiting for some support. Called short this time. Well, it now goes out wide. Slow and patient build-up once more, approaching that hour mark. This is usually where you see a little bit of momentum for one of the players. If they can get into the lead at this point, then things can change for them. Striker goal once more. And you'll see those tactical changes come in. Well, once again, Dan, it's been the centre-backs who've been making some huge blocks at crucial moments in this game.
Yeah, that's where that Team of the Year Van Dijk really comes into the equation. Just very good at getting his body in the way.
Mbappe's in behind it. Defenders will get back and across, but you can see there's players once again flowing forward in the middle. Goes for that whip cross into the box. The ball will break free. And it will be cleared out, I believe, for a corner. Have to check that when we get back in, but here are those changes I was talking about.
There has been another goal between FC Basel and Team FUTWIZ, and SPQR right back into it. Wants to answer those questions. We will keep you up to date with that game when those goals come in. So of course, there has to be a winner in each leg if after 90 minutes Still no lead, then it goes to extra time, and then we've seen a lot of penalties today, so
We
I'm
have.
sure
Oh,
if you've watched today...
I'm down for seeing some more, though. I'm down for seeing some more. Just to remind you of the scores as it stands there, very quick glance. 2-2 in that game means it's all tied up between FC Basel and Footwiz. But good news for SpiderCon, good news for Nicholas, and good news for FC Basel. They've found their way back into that game now. As we now have those tactical changes made, the substitutions made, and the corner now whipped in towards that front post again. And the only difference this time is which side of the post that ball fell.
Really does show how closely contested these two players are when every corner is a threat, and you know that you're not going to have too many chances in a game when they are defending successfully, so you try and seize that opportunity, you try and go for those front post crosses, but still all tied up. Still, both players just at each other's throats, if I'm completely honest. You were right, there were those moments of quiet, but a lot of pace now.
Well, here's Pele, ball roll from him, Hullet steps in, and that's a bit of a brave tackle, but a solid one. Looks good when you make it. We have seen a few penalties given away today. The referees, as we know on FIFA 21, very inclined to give those penalties if you do make a little bit of a rash challenge inside the box. But now there's a chance at the other end. Oh, and it's gone wide.
Oh, I'm surprised it was onside. It looked to be surely offside, but he's absolutely blasted it wide. As a late goal here for Team Footwiz Brazil to take the lead 3-2. And unfortunately for SpiderCon, going down now to Vinny. And only moments left in that game, so perhaps Team Footwiz will go in with the advantage after leg one.
What a goal it was as well. A beautiful scoop turn in there to create the space to get that strike away. But I'm still thinking about that chance we've just seen missed. That went wide of the mark. It was R9 who was in on goal. Went for that finesse towards the far post. It just drifted wide, but a reminder of that game and the scores at the moment of our two semi-finals. Only 2 spots available, of course, in that final. As our PlayStation players battle it out here to give their team the advantage.
I'm just watching the game close out between FC Basel and Team Footwiz Brazil. The final whistle has gone, so confirmation. Team Footwiz Brazil get the first game under their belt, and SpiderCon does not find that victory. It is instead Vinny. So it'll be over to the PlayStation players in leg number 2. Back to our feature game. ELS versus SPQR then. Nothing to separate them. We've seen corners galore. And a lot of through ball attempts.
Tackle from Hullet. Make that 2. Unfortunately for him, not rewarded with possession. A bit of a risky spread of the play there, but it's worked out. Always looks good when it does work out. And here come ELS once more. There's a little through ball there, and you can see the run outside here for Cristiano Ronaldo. Quick passing once more. Beautiful little flare pass inside as well. Such an effective way to find the angles for some of those passes in and around the box when it looks like those passing lanes have been cut and shut down by the defence. Well defended again. Now SPQR go up the other end. Attempted back heel will keep possession here with a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of different attacking methods from these teams, just trying to keep their opponents on their toes. They're opting to go for those through balls or a lot of quick passing with the triangles, the 1-2s, trying to keep ahead of your opponent. See how their player switching is, just test them a little bit, because one little mistake, one player stepping out of line, and suddenly you're through on goal.
The pressure still on here. There is the attempted flick out of the feet to get that pace boost. Look for that acceleration beyond the defender. It's been such a common meta skill move now to try and get that half a yard to get a shot away or force the defender to come across and deal with it. Well, for all the creativity, still tied up at 1-1 here.
Surprised he did not go for that through ball to R9, but there is one. And on the turn, and he's managed to smash it in on the left. He didn't take the first through ball, he was patient, and the second one presented itself. And ELS take a 2-1 lead.
Eusebio, one of the most deadly finishes on the game. I think that might have been his first or second touch on the pitch as well. Just been introduced to the action. And that 5-star weak foot, so valuable at the highest level, at any level. And Eusebio now He's the player that makes the difference in this game, and now you're seeing that change in formation. Eusebio's come on, he's done his job, and now Vieira's coming on to replace him.
Just a pat on the back as he leaves the field. Good
Well
job,
done,
son.
lad. Well done, lad.
Sending him into the dressing room. Get the champagne out. The job's not quite done, though. And that's really the difference in the meta of shooting at the moment in FIFA 21. At the other end, we saw R9 on the finesse, absolutely blast it wide. One of the best finishers in the game. But driving it low and across goal just seems to be far more consistent. And now there's 9 minutes left in game for SPQR to find a way back.
That could be the greatest cameo in FIFA history. If Eusebio comes on the pitch, has 2 touches, scores the winner, and then has to sit down. Won't even have to clean his boots.
All the mud came off with the ball after striking that one, to be completely honest.
Well, 9 here has found a little bit of space once more. Alexander-Arnold has to deal with it, but just 6 minutes left now in his first game of our semi-final. For ELS Torneos to hold on, which is definitely the plan with the introduction of Patrick Vieira and the change to that 4-5-1. And you can see, quite happy to go backwards here. Possession, #1 rule here.
And even with constant pressure available, even with team press there as well, it is sometimes difficult to rescue that ball back. But a good job to regain possession, but unfortunately, MH7 wise to it, getting his players in the right position to ensure that he could win the ball back again. And it's a very simple game now of just keep ball.
Unless Alphonso Davies is at your back.
That's always scary.
Bayern man charges upfield, and there's going to be one more opportunity here for SPQR. And for Guvia to step forward and find an equaliser, but there is that man, Patrick Vieira. The 2 subs with probably 2 of the biggest contributions to the game. Means that surely, with time expired now, the ELS Torneos should take the win here, and it will be them who take the win.
Yeah, so they'll get that early lead then in this best-of-3 series. MH7 doing his job. He was undefeated in the group stages with the 2 games he did play. A 3-1 victory, a 4-2 victory, and now a 2-1 victory in this semi-final. And it's a shame for SPQR, of course, but they do still have time to rescue it back. But unfortunately, you are going into the Xbox leg, where PH is in. There's so much we've said about him. Can he take ELS into the grand final? On the other side, it was Team Footwiz Brazil who took the first game 3-2. SpiderCon losing that one, so Nicholas from FC Basel now is going to have to do his best against Lugu on the Footwiz side. Well, I'm looking forward to these second legs.
I think this is it kind of fits in with the story we were telling, right? The fact that there's 2 players here who aren't, with all due respect, the star players, the standout players on their teams, and that's been the form. That's gone to the form that we've seen. It's, you know, MH7, who is in the shadow a little bit of PHZin with some of his recent performances, and understandably so. He's got the job done once again, taking the pressure off of PHZin now in this second game. Now Nicholas for FC Basel is once again under a huge amount of pressure, and we're going to watch that game right now. It will be Nicholas taking on Lucas Zeledo. And this is a must-win game now for FC Basel and Nicholas.
And maybe you could say some players would prefer to play the game first rather than playing it second after you've already seen your teammate win and you know that you have the possibility to get yourself to the final if you're playing that second game. Some players actually don't like that extra pressure. Some people would just be rather saying, okay, well, you know, I'll play that first one if I lose, and then when it gets to crunch time later, that's when I need to step up. People have a lot of different preferences when it comes to the situations they put themselves in FIFA. But as for Nicholas, I mean, he's seen plenty of clutch moments. He's been around the block when it comes to FIFA esports. He has to bring this series back on board for FC Basel.
It's good to see Nicholas as well expanding out into the glasses market. They're actually a pair of Nicholas's new glasses that he's provided to his opponent. Have to see if they make him as good of a FIFA player as Nicholas has been. Well, for Lucas Zeledo, he's been putting in performances all day long here for Team Footwiz Brazil. Not too much to report just in the first few moments here. But for Nicholas, the pressure's got to be immense here. And this is the wonderful thing, right, about team play in FIFA Esports. It's not just one player. You have to rely on that teammate. You can't win the tournament yourself, you're going to need a performance at some point.
I mean, just look at the quarter-final when Nicholas was all tied up 4-4 in the last attack of the game. Managed to make it 5-4. He's called the Iceman for a reason. I'm sure he won't mind the pressure too much.
Well, here comes Nicholas. Ruud Gullit just waiting for that run inside. Almost gets a little bit of fortune going his way, but too many bodies there. Inside the box for him to find a clear pass in. Well, the first time, really, Team FUTWIZ to step forward.
It is very interesting to see the different formations for different players, and there are a lot of players who just refuse to play 5 at the back, regardless of whether they think it is a strong formation. They're just completely against it. It's against their style of play. And I think that Nicholas is one of those. He very much will stick to his guns and stick to how he plays FIFA. And has been successful so far.
I think one thing that's certainly noticeable for me is Nicholas using that 4-5-1, which is a very strong formation for actually countering the 5-3-2. I think it's just that constantly evolving meta, right? We see a lot of players playing 5-3-2, then someone works out something to counter it, and then, trust me, in a few months' time, we'll see another formation being used, and you end up usually where you started in FIFA Esports with a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2, but until that moment comes, it's good to see Nicholas experimenting. It was George Adami was telling me about 4-5-1 and how good that can be against the 5-3-2. So maybe Nicholas is kind of trying to get a little bit of a leg up on his opponents here.
I mean, any sort of counter to the 5-3-2, I'm sure everyone will be screaming in Weekend League saying, yep, provide it to us. Give us the recipe for success. There are a couple of ways. 4-5-1 certainly seems to be one of them from what we've seen in this tournament so far.
Here comes Nicholas then, just approaching that half-hour mark. Unfortunately, just can't quite find that rhythm at the moment. We've seen him a couple of times, just in around the 18-yard box, waiting for that pass to appear, looking for that run. Just not executing as yet. It only takes him one opportunity, though, and we know when he creates it. Richard Brandon will mention it earlier. He does get a chance. It's very rare that you'll see Nicholas actually waste the chance. He usually finds the back of the net. What a ball that is, though. And speaking of finding a chance, a little bit of subtle goalkeeper movement. A little drop of the shoulder before pulling him back. And save Nicholas there.
A weak shot, really. He expected better and tried to go near post, but the goalkeeper movement was enough. Perhaps should have gone across goal, regardless of whether there was any prediction of goalkeeper movement or not. And you could argue that FC Basel favourites for this zone. I'm sure Team FUTWIZ would like to go against that grain and get themselves into the grand final. But yeah, again, just incredible defending from Nicholas. There's all these subtle things, whether it be player switching or just moving that goalkeeper. He just has that little extra bit of sass about him. One of the best around.
I mean, that's one of those things that, with all due respect to a lot of people watching at home, the average player just won't recognise how good that was from Nicholas defensively. And now, at the other end, he's inside that 18-yard box. Can he fashion a chance? Cricketer cannot beat Virgil van Dijk. But just going back to that interception that he did make, just the ability to read the game. He saw where that pass was being lined up, switched immediately with that right stick, and got in front of the man before the pass had been completed. It's just those tiny little things that separate the best in the world.
And unfortunately, the cricketer, even though very good at beating one man, it's not very good at beating two. It's quite a slow animation in the grand scheme of FIFA skill moves. And as soon as that second defender has time to get across the pitch, the block was there and available. And this game's certainly a little bit slower than the previous tie between ELS and SPQR. And maybe one last opportunity before half-time here for Lugu from FUTWIZ.
This one feels a little bit more like a chess game. And at half-time, no move has been made to end this one, so you can see from the chances created, just one aside, but it has been both players just kind of trying to pick apart the tapestry of the defence that is put in front of them. Reminder of some of the scores, though. Now the game hasn't quite kicked off yet. So we'll give you some updates on that score when it does get underway. FC Basel Esports versus Team FUTWIZ Brazil, 0-0 at this point. And just a reminder that Team FC Basel Esports, need to win this game, Dan, to send it to that third deciding leg.
From what we've seen, it's just a battle of the midfield at the moment. I mean, a 4-5-1 versus a 4-2-3-1, so two formations that you could argue counter the 5-3-2, but neither team playing a 5-3-2. So instead, we've just got this traditional battle right in the midfield of, well, who can get past those central defensive midfielders first? They are dropping back. They are kind of sitting in front of the defenders. The through balls aren't necessarily working. You don't necessarily have the width either that you would if you had the 5-3-2. So it's about just trying to play that passing game and maybe whipping out a skill move. That croqueta was almost enough to get the early lead. We'll see whether they change things up in this second half.
So the first attack of the game will go to Team FUTWIZ and to Lucas Zeledo. Almost managed to sneak that through. You saw the run from R9. He just managed to drift behind the shoulder of Virgil van Dijk. And that's so frustrating as a player when you win that ball back and try and make a simple pass. The ball just rolls out of play. And now you've got to focus up again. You don't have that moment's break where you can start building your attack immediately straight back under pressure.
Yeah, you get the FIFA anxiety of, well, every attack for your opponent could be that one attack, and especially when you're playing at the very top level. And the ability that these players have, you know that this could be the crunch time where suddenly this very close game goes in favour of them, and how are you then going to break through when they have that lead and then they can switch to an even more defensive formation if they would like?
Well, you can just see how difficult it is to get through the midfield of Nicholas at the moment. Those three bodies right in the centre of the pitch. You've got Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, and Ruud Gullit making up that three. All got decent defending stats. All very nimble as well, very quick. Which makes finding that little half yard so difficult. And I've got to kind of commend here the way that Lucas Zeledo is trying to be patient, break down that defence, move forward inch by inch, because you've got to make Nicholas come and get the ball. Nobody's winning this game at the moment. If Nicholas wants to come and get the ball, come and get it.
And Team FUTWIZ have the advantage in terms of winning that first leg, finding a little mistake, but again, possession back at the feet of Team FUTWIZ. Realistically, if you want, you can take this all the way to penalties and say, okay, we'll take it 50-50, Nicholas, if you're not going to come and try and retrieve this ball. But he is just trying to bait him a little bit, playing a couple of risky passes, seeing if any of those players can be lured out of the position that they find themselves in. But the midfield is stacked. As soon as he goes out wide, those fullbacks are just so good nowadays, ever since we saw the introduction of the Team of the Year players, that you can't even get down the wing when Alphonso Davies is chasing you down.
Well, finally a little bit of commitment there from Nicholas. Saw the opportunity to pounce. Spent long enough crouched in the grass. It's time for him to go and find that ball. And now that ball through. So Johan Cruyff stops up. Cancelling a few skill moves on his way towards goal. A beautiful ball. And for all of the defence, there was a chance at goal, but cannot convert. Big chance though.
The skill move cancels just show how excellent Nicholas is and how calm he is. That introduction of cancelling a skill move with both those triggers has been great to see in FIFA 21. The shot cancels were very strong. They had a bit of a nerf though. However, some of the interactions like the Magidi spin cancel and the croqueta cancel can sell those defenders. Just give you that extra pocket of space, but it was the vision just to dink it across. And I do think there was a little bit of goalkeeper movement as well to bring that keeper near post. We're still tied, 0-0.
Now we're back to the standoff between the two players. Nicholas is happy to wait for that mistake to come in, or use that player switch into the tackle as soon as a pass is going to be misplaced. And goes Zeledo, still just trying to pick him apart.
And I can't decide if I would be more frustrated as the attacking player here or as the defending player, because the attacking player is not committing to anything, and neither is the defending player. So it's frustrating for both sides. Still possession for Lugo here. Nicholas does enough to get a little interception, but only goes as far as pull it. It's back to square one.
10 minutes left here in this game. And for all the possession the Team Footwiz have had in this second half, the only one real chance has gone to FC Basel. As soon as Nicholas did win that ball back, turned defence into attack very, very quickly, but didn't take that opportunity, and it only takes one chance, and it only takes one mistake.
Well, you've got that one mate who always screenshots his game. It's 80% possession, but I still didn't win. Well, I mean, this is an example of sometimes statistics don't tell the entire story, but finally Nicholas does win the ball back. He has been patient, though. I'm not having a dig at how either of these players are playing, because I will admit it is frustrating to be on both sides.
I thought you were throwing shade at me then.
I mean, I try to throw shade wherever possible. You are a possession player, but not like this. Don't worry.
What a chance now for Nicholas and FC Basel to once again get a late winner in this game and keep their chances alive of making that final. They need to win this here, FC Basel. And maybe Bruno Fernandes is the man to open up the gates in front of him. Ball inside. Oh, he's done it again! They call him the Iceman for a reason. Once again, Nicholas scores at the death.
I mean, he's been watching a football simulator for half the game, and he's just been biding his time saying, yeah, come on, just play the ball, attack me, give me the chance to get you on the counter. He finally gets the ball, and it wasn't really a counter-attack, it's a slow, methodical build-up to take the lead here and potentially take this to a third leg in this semi-final. A reminder, he had to win this game. Otherwise, Team Footwiz would have been going on to the grand final of Zone 5.
Genuine question for you, Dan. Do you think there's anyone in World FIFA right now at the top level who keeps their composure in any situation as well as Nicholas? He just seems to be unflappable.
I would say the closest competitor would probably be from North America, would be Joxan. A game of Joxan versus Nicholas would be terrifying to watch, because they would both just be so calm. You'd see very little celebration until one of them was able to actually push through and retrieve that result. But Nicholas is... the patience that he has displayed throughout this game is a different class.
It's so difficult to do as well. Like, defending is where all of your mental strength goes, in my opinion, in FIFA Esports. It's where you have to be absolutely on it. You cannot make one mistake against players at this level, otherwise it's a goal. It is quite simple when you think it in that kind of way. And to defend for that long, to hold on to the game for that long, and then take your chance at the other end is unbelievable here from Nicholas, and he keeps his team's hopes alive once more and passes the baton now back to SpiderCon in our deciding game.
And I mean, there's a lot to look at in that game, and the way both players were playing. You're completely right. The mental strength to consistently play a switch and to watch every single pass, to deny any possibility of a through ball. And on the other side, I mean, I'm looking at Luke and I'm saying, like, just take a risk. There's so many times where he said, well, actually, no, I'm not going to. If you're not going to present me with any chance, I'm just going to keep the ball. But then in the end, just didn't really do anything. But at the same time, if he does take a risk and he misses a pass, Nicholas then has possession. And then Nicholas goes down the other end and Nicholas scores.
It's such a tough balance and act. And Nicholas gets the job done once again. We've said it 1,000 times, and I'm sure we'll say it 1,000 times more as we now jump into the second game between ELS Torneos and SPQR. This game between Felipe and PH Zin. I tell you what, that is a mouth-watering prospect, these two players going up against each other, and almost immediately our first chance of the game.
Still with possession as well. Whenever you do have those chances where the ball gets around the edge of the area and you're still presented with it, it could actually be a goal here! And it is blooming lovely right at the end of it. Pele just getting hold of it, and it was just that chance. The ball came back out after being at the edge of the box, and it's very difficult as a defender to get back on track when you're not expecting the ball to come back at you.
And it's going to be Felipe. He finds himself one down here. PH Zin stepping up. This is the player we wanted to see performing at this level. And a reminder here that he could get the job done for his team and put them in a finals spot if he can win this game.
You can see the stats there from the group stage as well for PH Zin. Only 2 games played. Did score 6 goals, conceded 5, won one of those games, lost one of those games.
In behind him once more as well. Goes for that ding. Oh, the vision! That is magnificent from PH Zin. I don't think there's many other players on the planet or anyone watching who saw that.
I mean, that was something off-planet. Disney Plus signed it up for a new series, but 2-0 now in the early stages. And it's really tough to come back after 2 goals like that in such a quick fashion.
That's unbelievable. I quite put my mouth back together. That was such an unbelievable pass. To have the vision to see that. We were waiting to see some PH Zin and see him turn up. Well, there you go.
I mean, when we saw the brief statistics there from the group stage, and I said he did lose a game. He lost to Klinger 3-1, but in his victory against Dux Esports, he won 5-2. The goals can be scored. And when they start to really flood in and you get chance after chance, the opposition can just get pummeled into the ground. And if PH Zin keeps going this way, then we might see a real bloodbath. And potentially ELS making their way into the grand final, because they did win that first leg. You can see on your screens it was a 2-1 victory. Oh, what a lovely thing that was.
Great vision, simple finish. And PH Zin, you have to say at this point, maybe put one foot into that final for ELS Torneos. They of course won that first game as well. MA7 once again getting his job done. And with a 2-goal lead inside that first 30 minutes, SPQR fans around the world, I'm sure, are watching right now and thinking, this ain't looking good.
Well, Felipe was undefeated in the group stage, so he certainly knows how to get victories as well, but at the moment he just seems to be on the back foot. Can't seem to get a grip on the game, and every time that PH Zin comes forward, he's just offering up so much space, and the passes are there completely polar opposite to what we just saw in the previous game, where there was
different field for this
no
one.
space at all.
And here comes Felipe. Maybe a goal here would just calm the nerves a little bit and get that head firmly screwed back on. The reverse ball into Ronaldo. Immediately shut down though by PH Zin, and now looking, you can see him just waiting, maybe looking for that long through ball as Pele actually steps into a decent amount of space through the middle here. Didn't get beyond the defender though. Couldn't run at goal, instead has to recycle just for a moment here. Beautiful ball roll once more. Good fight here from the players. Here's Bruno Fernandes, maybe thinking about getting on that right foot for a finesse. But again, you can see PH Zin just moving this ball so quickly, pulling the defenders left and right, but it's a long way round Virgil van Dijk.
You try and move it as fast as possible, so it gets to the point where the player switching of your opponent isn't as quick as you are passing the ball, and it just generates so much space. Eventually went for the directional nutmeg, but wasn't enough.
Speaking of directional nutmegs, another attempt there, and ooh, I tell you what, that could have been a gift. Back into the game for SPQR, the goalkeeper. He made that one look very difficult.
At least possession, though, still at the feet of ELS PH Zin. I wonder whether maybe get past the defence with one of those directional nutmegs, because he has got to that kind of final line, and if one of them does pay off, he is going to have a clear-cut chance.
There's a bit of space out wide here. Ruud Gullit now going to step towards that 18-yard box. Once again, just a quick pass in and around the boxes, creating space. He goes for that first-time fake shot there. A great idea in that position if you can execute it and just get the body of the player the wrong side of the defender. You have a free shot on goal. Well defended by SPQR. But the issue here for Felipe is every single time that PH Zin is going forward, Dan, he's looking like scoring.
Yeah, and he's trying to be unpredictable, and eventually it will pay off. He's trying to play that percentage game, and up those chances of scoring a goal and getting as clear possibility as he can. And that is definitely a worry if you are on the SPQR side. Felipe needs to find a way just to contain PH in here. And maybe that's it. Maybe just a couple of offside traps here or there. Keep the play around the midfield rather than just allowing him to be around that box where he looks so dangerous.
Maybe a goal just before half-time will be the difference. Unfortunately, that double-tap pass will not find its target. Goalkeeper made that one look a lot more simple than he did from the previous, we'll call it, effort. Now, once again, you see Alphonso Davies, that's the fullback, just striding behind the defensive line. Comes back on side now and will pick the ball up as well. Whips that ball in. Maldini will deal with it comfortably.
It's the off-the-ball runs that PHN is triggering that is just so difficult for Felipe to defend. Utilising the LB or L1, whichever console you may be playing on, sending those runs, and of course the new addition to triggering the manual runs as well off the ball. And just knowing when to bring that player close and to when to stop the runs, because you can send them on a run, stop that run, the defender steps out, and then you can send them the complete other way.
Just before half-time here, maybe an opportunity for SPQR to get back into this game. Here's Pele, stepping out there with Virgil van Dijk, which might have given the opportunity for a strike. A little directional nutmeg, though. Creates half a yard. Players now converging onto the ball, and a big tackle on the edge of the box here for PHN. Will give him possession right at the death of the first half.
2 or 3 players went to ground, but no free kick, just maybe a couple of slips. But this could be a chance right in the last moment.
Kylian Mbappe, scoop turn, big tackle though from Van Dijk. Pressure still on though. Goes for the second opportunity. Mbappe versus Van Dijk. Goes around the goalkeeper just for a moment though. The goalkeeper recovers to make the save, but nervy moments. Meanwhile though, Dan, goals in our other game.
The third leg between FC Basel and Team FUTWIZ Brazil, and it's Team FUTWIZ taking that lead. Spider Kong going down in that one. And Vinny has the goal lead, and we are going to jump live to this game. This deciding tie between these two incredible teams in this tournament. Can Spider Kong show us what he's made of? Show that passion that we saw last year in the E-Club World Cup? Or is he going to go down with a whimper in the semi-finals?
Well, he's through on goal here, and this is live action as he tries to go across to Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe an opportunity there to drive a goal. Just a few steps more with Ruud Gullit to create that angle for the pass. But sometimes that's what nerves can do. Knowing that your tournament life is on the line, knowing your form hasn't been at the level that is matching your teammate, it can all influence those decisions, but we know the talent this man has. We know that he can do miraculous things in the FIFA game. The question is, can he find that talent and that special ability when the pressure really is on here?
The interesting thing is, historically in FIFA esports, when we have like the Swiss competitions, for example, the Swiss stages, just wait to see if this actually goes in, but it's gone out of play. We'll see a player play against a competitor in the group stages, win, and then play them in the knockout stages and then lose. But today, in the competition, we've seen that the players just consistently beat their opponents. Once they have that victory under their belt, they're going into that third tie and they're winning again. We haven't seen the kind of same fight back in previous tournaments.
That's a big tackle, big interception there from Ruud Gullit to momentarily give Spider Kong a little bit of a room for breathing, but that quickly turned into being short for air once more as his goalkeeper had to bail him out. Seven minutes gone in our first half. Reminder that FC Basel, when this deciding game, need to win. It's pretty obvious when you say deciding game. Van Dijk steps in though. The Team FUTWIZ, and there's that through ball. Luckily, the pace of Virgil van Dijk enough to deal with that, but Maldini's made a mess of it, and now the goalkeeper's moved out of the way. And for Spider Kong and Paolo Maldini in general today, questions have to be asked.
Head in hands for Spider Kong. Elsewhere, ESL versus That's the ELS, excuse me, versus SPQR. A penalty missed. And Team Footwiz in this particular game have a 2-goal lead, and it was a mistake. And I've got to say, clinical in front of goal, though. When you get that chance, you're presented with that opportunity. It's just a nice little simple ball roll, and then tucks it away.
You just feel sometimes in FIFA, when things aren't going your way, they don't go your way. And that was an example of it. But still time left for FC Basel to claw back into that game. Still 45 minutes to get the job done. ELS Torneos looking confident, though. We just saw that penalty miss, but that was for 3-0, not just 2-0. So that would have been pretty much game over for them and their spot booked in the final. But the real focus has to go, in my opinion, onto this deciding game, this game number 3 for FC Basel Esports. SPQR gets the goal, though. And I tell you what, that belief will come flooding back to him.
He just needs something, doesn't he? He needs a little bit of a boost. In the first leg, he took the lead and probably would have been thinking, okay, well, I'm here, I'm ready. And very quickly, that game turned on its head, and that's a massive confidence killer. And being 2 goals down is even more so. He just needs something to pick him up out of the gutter right now. And a goal before half-time would be just that.
Here comes SPQR, and the difficulty for him is going to have to break down the deep-lying defence now. And that 2-goal advantage has given you the right to play like that as well. That's what Maldini should do. You know, centre-back. My tongue firmly in my cheek. And that's a great ball in behind. R9 staring at the goalkeeper, goes round him. The keeper gets a touch on it for SPQR. And he's forced to clear his lines.
We can already see today just how that ball roll is one of the most important things when you are in that 1v1 situation. Even though in some of these scenarios, maybe just shooting or trying to chip it over the keeper could be better, percentage chances always really go in favour of that ball roll around the keeper. And it is Davies at left back, just time and time again, generating that extra little bit of width. He thought about it, didn't he?
Just for a second there, I thought he was going to go for goal.
I think sometimes it's just putting the reticule on the line to try and convince them to put the keeper back. To say, hey, give me some room in the box here.
Corner whipped in towards Ruud Gullit. 2 men on him will deal with that initial cross, though. Van Dijk goes back inside here. Almost fed back to him as well. A chance on the counter-attack here. From the corner, just for half-time. It's almost a 4v3 situation here. SPQR needs to make the most of this. Alphonso Davies, though, manages to get an interception, but there is a chance, and the goalkeeper makes the save. And it was offside. But that needed to go in my opinion, just for the confidence of SPQR.
Yeah, just to give him some sort of glimmer of hope. Instead, he manages to rescue back. If this was onside, could be a chance.
The linesman's flag is going to stay down, and
and
it's put it in the back of the net! Cristiano Ronaldo has given SPQR a lifeline. Sends it sailing agonisingly over the outstretched hand of Peter Schmeichel. And the lead is half now. Just 1 goal. Game on.
It looked so unorthodox when he actually took it. The camera angle made it look like it was actually just flopped wide, but timed perfectly. And as I said earlier, sometimes just a little chip is enough to beat the oncoming keeper, or even just a keeper who's taken a couple of steps off the line. But at half-time, there is a lifeline for SPQR.
We'll take a look at that goal as well.
Like
I thought he'd gone for the finesse. It was a strange animation, but who cares? It was an effective one. The chip finesse, it's just very strange. That's like when you kick one of those inflatable balls you get on the beach. You know what I mean? It feels like
the wind takes it.
The wind takes it. We'll go back to the end of this game between ELS Torneos and SPQR. Is 3-0 to PHZ in this one for ELS. And this one is all but done.
The question is there time for another goal here? Cristiano Ronaldo goes to on goal, outside of the left foot, from one game to the other. A carbon copy finish. And we're going to have our first finalist from Zone 5 confirmed here. SPQR will be eliminated. And ELS Torneos, they will be in the final.
Deservedly as well. I mean, MH7 had a class performance, but this from PHZin, from what we've seen, the goals that he scored has been a different class. And he's definitely living up to the hype that we have been putting on him throughout the day. ELS will march on to the grand final. We still have to wait to see who they're going to be facing up against, whether it's going to be FC Basel or FUTWIZ. Either way, though, look at that. Does look nice if you are a fan of ELS, and I'm sure PHZin will be kicking his feet up tonight and looking forward to that grand final to come this weekend.
I'll sort of be looking at the other game, though, to find out who they're going to be facing, though, because we still have to get to the conclusion of FC Basel versus Team FUTWIZ Brazil. And with SpiderCon getting that goal right at the end of that first half really has changed things here. And he's a momentum player. So that little boost really does change things here. Almost finds that ball through as well, but has to be careful on that counter-attack now.
And I think this is really big for Team FUTWIZ as well. Like, at the E-Club World Cup, they're a staple. Team FUTWIZ Australia, usually making it, qualifying for it. A dominant force, but they didn't even get out of groups, unfortunately, this tournament. However, Team FUTWIZ Brazil have stepped up and have got one step into this final.
Speaking of stepping up, SpiderCon had to do something defensively there, and did so, and immediately turns defense into attack. Trying desperately to move that ball forward as quickly as he can. But there are going to be gaps here for Vinny. If he can defend these flowing attacks coming in from his opponent. Men being committed forward. Mbappe goes for that directional nutmeg. Hullet steps in once more. Just a line of defenders queued up to try and hold on to this lead here for Team FUTWIZ. Hullet will step in and win it.
That is not a pretty sight.
That was a wall of FIFA.
It's like approaching Helm's Deep, if I'm completely honest. Terrifying. You need something to break through the barricade that has been presented by Team FUTWIZ, and the scary thing is, on the counter-attack, still going to be possibilities for goals.
R9 somehow gets that ball back to Mbappe, almost fed him again. And now SpiderCon can get forward, and I believe that's Lionel Messi, introduced once again. Maybe looking to spark some of the things and the magic that we saw last year, but it's Kylian Mbappe who will celebrate with Messi as Basel are back in this one.
What a relief that is for SpiderCon as well. The longer the game goes on when you're down and you're facing that wall, those defenders, it just gets more and more frustrating. The quick counter-attack. And Mbappe finishing it successfully from that left-hand side. Again, there's those thoughts. Do I chip it? Do I ball roll? Is the keeper coming out? How am I going to go for the finesse around the keeper? But who is going to join ELS in that grand final? Is it going to be FUTWIZ? Is it going to be FC Basel? It's all tied up. At the moment, stays like this, we'd be heading to extra time.
Hey, it's not like we've been there before today, is it? Penalties, extra time, last-minute winners. It's had it all today. The E-Club World Cup. It's one of everybody's favourite events of the year for a reason. The players just seem to find this extra gear to give us all the drama you could possibly imagine. But this is the goal from Kylian Mbappe that has put SpiderCon back into the game. He was 2 down. Now he has that momentum. Can he get the lead, though?
And I just hope Nicholas is whispering sweet nothings in his ear right now, just to give him a little bit of the cool Iceman approach, because it's very easy after making a comeback like this to just get full of kind of just rage, where you just want to get back into that game, you want to get that goal. The adrenaline starts to flow through, and whilst that can be beneficial for some players, there are others who will actually have the negative effects where they might make mistakes because they get a little bit too aggro on their opposition and they don't keep their calm head. But for SpiderCon, he looks all right. Looks like he's refocused now. He's had his moment. He's got back into the game. We'll see whether he can try and take the lead.
Next goal is massive in this game. Absolutely massive. If it goes to Vinny, Spider-Kong's head will drop as he goes in on goal. And oh, it is that goal! And you just thought he'd done enough to defend that. The ball just bobbles back to him, though, off the legs of Van Dijk. And he finds the finish. I mean, it's tough.
You said his head will drop.
It's tough.
His head quite literally dropped. As low as it could, out of the player cam that we see. Because he'd made the challenge. He'd won the ball back. It was just one of those where the player manages just to sneak it back and has a second chance, and he is punished, but still time yet.
Ronaldinho inside the box here for Spider-Kong. Maybe a chance to strike. And for one end where Van Dijk couldn't win the ball cleanly, he extends to full length to make that interception. And now at the other end, Team Footwood stepping forward. Vinny looking to compile the misery here. Combination of that ball roll and the scoop turn. But Spider-Kong might be in behind. That's a big challenge. You take that if you're Vinny.
The yellow will be presented to Bruno Fernandes, though. It's one of those things that when you concede a goal like that in this fashion, your brain starts to think, maybe it's just not my day. But any brain power that's being used to think about it's not my day is not being used to actually consider, how am I going to attack my opponent? What skill move should I be using? Where should I be passing that ball? It's so easy to get caught up of, oh, well, what are my excuses when this game finishes? Or what will I say to my teammate if I don't manage to win?
Big interception there from Davis, but the spin doesn't go his way. And Vinny just needs to be calm in possession here. Keep his composure. For Spider-Kong, he's got to get that ball back, and he's got to get it back quickly. And he's got to get it to the feet of one of those dangerous strikers he has on the pitch. And he does have the chance here, with the game being stopped, to make some changes.
I think that may have been offside, so it should be a free kick to Spider-Kong when play resumes. We will have possession, unless it was a foul from the header, but I don't think it was, but we will see some changes coming in. Usually constant pressure is put on, the depth is up. And on the other side, for Footwiz, it's the exact opposite. The depth is brought back down. He's just going to sit back, and we'll probably see that same wall yet again. All those black shirts just on the edge of the box, saying, well, what have you got, Spider-Kong? What have you got left?
Last throw of the night here for FC Basel. Messi goes out wide.
Oh, no.
And the two players tackle each other.
Like I said, if it's not your day, it's not your day, but another chance. Another roll of that metaphorical dice you speak of. Absolute focus required. Nicholas watching on. He did his job. Can Spider-Kong help him out now?
Ball into the feet of Cristiano Ronaldo. Alexander-Arnold, everybody getting forward. Vinny trying to hold on here. This will be one of the last attacks of the game. Into the 90th minute. Alexander-Arnold.
No. And just when you think maybe there was going to be one last opportunity, the ball just rolls out of play. A pause will be called, but I'm worried it's just too late. Only a minute of added on time was there. And Vinny is moments away from taking Footwiz Brazil into this grand final.
What a game it's been. Both players have given absolutely everything. 90 minutes on the clock. You can see that right at the top of your screen, in-game. Maybe just an opportunity for Vinny to take a deep breath and just think,
this is it.
This is it.
This is the game. As long as I don't make a mistake, I've won, and I've got us into this grand final. For Spider-Kong, he's just going to be replaying those last 30 seconds over and over and over. Tried to make the pass, it didn't connect. It was going out for a corner. And then the player is, of course, naturally tried to keep the ball in, but it didn't go that way.
Well, over the allotted time, almost now, as the ball is sent forward, and that will be it. You can see
The celebrations from Vinny, the celebrations from Team FUTWIZ Brazil. They make it through to our grand finals at the expense of FC Basel. It was an incredible game. SpiderCon somehow find his way back into it, having been 2 goals down. But that deciding goal, what's the difference between the two teams? We have our grand final down.
And sometimes a picture does tell 1,000 words. SpiderCon's camera off. And on the other side, tears in the eyes of the FUTWIZ members. You can see what it means to them. They're not here in the studio, but I felt that one. I felt that emotion just erupt from him. Very calm when he was in those final moments. But as soon as that final whistle went, wow, you could see just how much it meant.
Yeah, you can see in front of us as well the results from the games that we've just had. SpiderCon unfortunately falling in that deciding game 3, but ELS Torneos Online, I mean, let's talk about that a little bit, because both of these players today, I'm sure they're wishing we could hopefully go on and play the final right now, but they're going to have to wait, unfortunately, because both of them are in such phenomenal form.
We've seen very little teams go through without getting to that third final game today. We've only seen a couple. To be fair, Team FUTWIZ, they did it in the quarter-final, but they weren't able to do the same in the semi. But ELS certainly looked like the team to beat in this Zone 5, and that is going to be a very juicy final with 4 competitors who really want this. This is your chance to stamp yourself in history, like an E-Club World Cup champion. Okay, it's slightly different from what we've seen in previous years, but a zone champion nonetheless. It'll be on all the statistics pages. You can put it in your Twitter bio, whatever social media you like. It's going to be a great moment for some of these players.
Plus, it makes next year's even more interesting.
It does indeed.
It's like, hey, we've got all these zone winners. Well, when we're all back together and we all get the opportunity to do this all together, who's going to be the one who actually becomes the champion? That's very interesting for me. But I think I just want to give a shout out here to MH7. I think he has been a star in himself today for ELS Torneos Gaming. It's all been about PHZ, rightly so, 2-time champion. But to have a teammate who is making those kind of amazing performances count must be taking the pressure off him so much.
Yeah, I mean, just final words from me is just that all of these competitors have been under a lot of pressure indeed, but the way some of them have dealt with it, and of course the teammates have helped, but the 1v1 environment is such a stressful place to be in, but they've all performed fantastically. Commiserations to all those that were eliminated, but we have our grand final set up, Mark.
We do have our grand final set up. It will be ELS Torneos Online taking on Team FUTWIZ. You can see all of the players there. They'll be ready to go tomorrow, but for now, we're going to go over to Spencer and to Layla.
Mark and Dan, thank you very, very much. What an exciting day we've had. And now a Zone 5 final has been decided. Torneos versus FUTWIZ. How do you feel about that one? Not quite what you predicted.
Very close, very close. The football's all going to do it. I think it honestly is so important, this thing we're about to do in a second. You know, this toss is so important because what console you get first and there in the third game, we're seeing so many deciding matches. You've got to have a balanced team. You can't have one player carrying the other. It's proven to be pretty pivotal today. So how does that make you feel about the next 2 tosses you're about to do? I feel like I've got a lot of responsibility in my hands here later. Yeah. But it's not my responsibility because it's the responsibility of the organisations to make sure their team is good on both consoles. On both consoles. Just pass that back. Just pass it back. OK, so let's do the coin toss first for Zone 5, the game that we've just seen. Torneos versus FUTWIZ. Right. Let's focus on that one. OK, we're ready. What platform will they be playing in for their big final? Reminder, whatever we get here is the console that the first game will be played on, and if there is a decider, that's the one it goes to again. So it sticks with it. Yeah, so if it's Xbox, you're playing potentially 2 games on Xbox rather than PlayStation and vice versa. Thank you ready? For clearing that up. OK, here we go. Oh, that's a high one. So Torneos versus FUTWIZ will be playing on the... It is PlayStation, I can reveal. PlayStation first. Big. Nice to have a bit of a change because we've seen a lot of Xbox games today. We've just seen 2 Xbox games for FUTWIZ, so it's going to flip reverse, obviously. We're going to see Lugo Zelado having to carry the team a little bit more for FUTWIZ, for example. OK, well, we'll waste no time at all and go back to Zone 4. Australis will be playing Makers tomorrow. What will they be playing on? Should we find out? Let's do it. OK. I'm happy with that. Oh, that was a good spin. I don't know what it is, though. Oh, same again. PlayStation. PlayStation again. Big. So that is Uston, for example, for Australis. That's massive for Australis. I mean, no disrespect to Aga, who we love, and we had an interview, but he said himself he's the John O'Shea compared to the Wayne Rooney of Uston. That's massive. They've got him up first on the PlayStation. Against Principe, though, Oli Bolli is an interesting one because he's 3rd right now in Europe on PlayStation, but he's playing this tournament on Xbox. So it'll shake things up a little bit. So a summary of today. What 3 words would you use to describe today? 3? Well, I would say...
Just 3. Do you want more?
Entertaining.
Yeah.
No, I went less than 3.
Oh, okay.
Entertaining. I would say... oh, God.
Dramatic.
Decider is the word I'd use, because it has so many Yeah, and we'll go with dramatic as well. But, I mean, these games constantly, not in every case, but so many cases going to that third match, just shows you how close it is. And when it's one leg, particularly, for each console, you have a little bit less room to see the difference between two players. So we're proving that the format works, but also that the field is very even. These guys are all at the same sort of level.
Well, it's been a big day, and our minds are more similar than I thought, because I wrote down dramatic deciders and penalties, even last-minute steals. We now have our Zone 5 finalists and our Zone 4 finalists. Tomorrow we'll be going to Zone 1, so make sure you stick here. And Spence, I think we should do it all over again.
Can't wait, let's do it. I mean, we're going to see some winners, though, aren't we? The finals are coming, so it's the big one. Hope they bring their game.
The finals begin tomorrow. We'll see you there.